Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. Naruto, you are born as a devil. Chapter 1. Morning in Konoha. Naruto came to the terrace and started today's practice. Sitting here, occasionally looking at the scenery, I always think of some things in the past. Naruto didn't know how he came to this world. To put it simply, he traveled through time. Then he became the protagonist, the child of destiny, the future 7th generation Hokage, the reincarnation of Asura Chakra. Uzumaki Naruto. In his previous life, Naruto, as a Naruto fan, knew all the plots of Naruto. This time travel can be regarded as a dream come true. I am the child of prophecy, the savior destined to save the ninja world. I will defeat all villains and become the 7th Hokage. I want to reverse all tragedies and put smiles on everyone's faces. The Uchiha clan, Neji and Hinata, Nagato, Obito. As long as he thought about his dream and how so many tragedies could be reversed, Naruto couldn't help but feel a heartfelt joy. This joyful mood is unknown to others, at least not visible on the surface. However, in this body, there is a long-term tenant who can accurately sense the host's emotional changes. Tick, a dark but not light-filled spiritual world. In the sewer, a huge fox-like beast was imprisoned behind the iron gate. The special talisman strengthened the effectiveness of the ban, allowing the huge iron gate to firmly imprison the demon fox inside. The bored demon fox sensed the host's emotional fluctuations and couldn't help but sneer at it. HMPH. If you think you can learn the chakra refining method immediately just by relying on that white-eyed guy's professor, I advise you. It's better not to do any more useless work. A few days ago, when Naruto passed by a small forest in the village, he came across a little girl who was being bullied by several naughty children. Seeing this scene, Naruto, who was inspired to become the 7th Hokage, certainly could not stand idly by. After a fight, Naruto rescued the little girl and successfully made those naughty children suffer. I am Uzumaki Naruto, but not that Uzumaki Naruto. At that time, Naruto looked down at the fallen children with a completely victorious attitude. According to the development of the original work, Naruto, who should have been beaten to the point of throwing himself on the street, became the winner. History begins to change, and the butterfly effect accumulates. However, some things will still develop according to the established trajectory. For example, through this random act, I gained a lifelong fangirl. This little girl's name is Hinata. I am Uzumaki Naruto, the man who wants to become Hokage. Naruto responded to the big fox tenant in his body while forming seals and refining chakra according to Professor Hinata's chakra refining method. To realize various ideals, of course, a solid foundation and strong strength are needed. In other words, training is a process that the ninja world must go through as a matter of course. Tisk. Kyuubi slapped his mouth and made no comment. It has heard this sentence no less than 1,000 times. From the time Naruto Uzumaki first learned to speak, he had already understood what kind of character this brat was. Like his father, the hateful 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, he is a nasty guy. But, Kyuubi immediately narrowed his eyes and began to observe and sense Naruto's changes. Back then, Namikaze Minato used the Bagua seal to seal me into this brat's body. This sealing technique, in addition to the sealing effect, it also has the function of a water purification device, which can continuously convert my chakra into pure chakra for this brat to use. This seemingly unreasonable theft certainly made Kyuubi very dissatisfied. Although this chakra is extremely amazing in the eyes of humans, it is just a drop in the bucket for it with a huge chakra. But the effectiveness of any sealing technique will loosen with the passage of time. Wait, the imprisoned Kyuubi was not willing to remain imprisoned in the host's body. How to get out of trouble is the main question it has always conceived. After two Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Kushina, the kid who is now the third is not as smart and mature as the previous two. This kid is young and silly. Taking advantage of his opportunity to refine chakra and practice, maybe, the seal can be loosened in advance. Thinking of this, the nine-tailed fox became hot in his heart. It decided to continue to guide this kid and tempt him to use more of his power. Kid, do you want power? Just like what you experienced when you saved the little girl in the grove before. As long as you agree, I will be merciful and lend you my power. The nine-tailed fox began to persuade with a bewitching tone. Naruto, who put his hands together and crossed his legs to concentrate on refining chakra, seemed not to hear the tenant's question. Time passed by. Naruto, who showed a difficult expression, had sweat on his forehead. Watching this process, the nine-tailed fox immediately realized that this kid's practice was hindered. In other words, this kid didn't inherit the talent of the fourth Hokage, but is more like his mother Uzumaki Kushina. When the Nine Tails was lost in thought, the next second, Naruto's sudden words made the Nine Tails stunned. Naruto, it's so difficult to refine chakra, I understand. It's you, Nine Tails, who dragged me down. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. The Nine Tails almost couldn't catch his breath. His own chakra was snatched by the 8 trigrams seal, and supplied to this kid, but now he is being blamed. No one can tolerate this. As a time traveler and fire scientist, Naruto certainly knows that the 8 trigrams seal can snatch the Nine Tails chakra. The amount is about 100 cards. That is, 100 Kakashi chakra units, which can be restored to his own usable chakra through the purification of the seal technique. However, as Uzumaki Naruto, the protagonist of this ninja world, it is also a compulsory course to play this role well. Therefore, Naruto, who pretended to be ignorant, actually completely entered this role. Or rather, he had started playing this role many years ago when he was still a baby. You have to compensate me, stinky fox. Pay me back my chakra. Naruto immediately began to give up, thinking that it was all the fault of the Nine Tails. Because of the Nine Tails, he could not refine his chakra well. To deceive others, you must first deceive yourself. Naruto quickly convinced himself. The Nine Tails dragged me down, just like the Sharingan dragged Kakashi down. Nine Tails, really? Buzz. Suddenly, the mirror world turned. Naruto's eyes blurred and he came to a dark sewer space. Tick. There was a sound of dripping water in his ears, and looking down, there were ripples of water splashing under his feet. Where is this? Naruto looked at this mysterious place with a face pretending to be confused. Uzumaki Naruto. In the dark cage, a pair of huge vertical pupils suddenly opened. These eyes were as hot as star torches, illuminating the even larger fox head and the looming fox body. The next second, 2 huge fox claws stretched out of the railing, as if holding it, and crossed their fingers, imprisoning Naruto's small body. Accept it, my power. The low hum of the Nine Tails exploded in his ears. The action in the mental space, materialized into reality, means that the Nine Tails actively transmitted its power to Naruto. The Jinchuriki will be defeated by the tailed beast when the mind reveals a flaw. When Naruto's spirit relaxed, the Nine Tails got the opportunity. However, what the Nine Tails did not notice was that Naruto, who was tightly held in its palm, had an arc at the corner of his mouth. Several years ago, the seal set by the fourth Hokage was loose for the first time in the eyes of the Nine Tails. Of course, this loosening was just a trace of power that leaked out from the edge of the seal. When the orange-tailed beast power enveloped the little Naruto in the spiritual space, the Nine Tails grinned and couldn't help showing an ecstatic expression. Everything has a beginning, and you can't get fat in one bite. But the Nine Tails knew that as long as a corner of the seal was torn, it would only take time for him to escape. So, next, will this kid lose his self-awareness and run away because of the infusion of his power, or will he be swallowed directly by himself? In the present world, sitting on the terrace, Naruto suddenly opened his eyes. His originally azure eyes were now stained with scarlet, and even turned into the vertical pupils of a fox. This made Naruto's temperament change dramatically. His originally honest and tender face now had a hint of ferocity. Click. Getting up from the ground, Naruto looked across the terrace and gazed at the scenery of Konoha in the distance. The abundant alien chakra flowed out from the gap of the Bagua seal on his abdomen. Chakra is the root of everything and the foundation of strength. In this world, the more chakra you have, the stronger you are. Under the expectant gaze of the Nine Tails, Naruto jumped up and landed directly from a 7 to 8 meter high building. Swish. After landing steadily, Naruto took a step and soon went all the way to the grove where he often practiced. The peaceful place with targets and stakes is Naruto's private paradise, where he used to practice physical skills. Facing the stakes that he had spent thousands of punches on in the past, but could only leave a few marks, this time, the result will be completely different. Bang! The young and tender fists hammered out, and the stakes exploded instantly as if they were facing the bombardment of large caliber guns, and the debris flew. Quote. Watching this scene, Naruto nodded with satisfaction. Then, Naruto punched and kicked, constantly practicing his physical skills in the grove. Every clumsy movement can cause a huge roar and destructive power. This is the potential of the Jinchuriki under the power of the Nine Tails. However, all this is completely unacceptable to the Nine Tails. Nine Tails. This kid didn't go berserk. Directly bearing his unfiltered chakra, this negative emotion containing his hatred for humans, this kid was not affected at all. How is this possible? The Nine Tails couldn't help but groan. Even the previous Jinchuriki, Kushina, who has a complete Uzumaki bloodline, would experience a berserk experience because she couldn't bear the negative emotions carried in her chakra. Could it be because of the effect of the 8-diagram seal? The Nine Tails, puzzled, could only stare at the kid in front of him practicing his poor so-called physical skills. The morning passed quickly. Naruto wiped the sweat off his face and went to a small river nearby to take a bath. I'm so hungry, it's time to go back. Under the incredulous gaze of the Nine Tails, Naruto, whose pupils were still scarlet, walked towards home step by step. The following days, Naruto continued to adapt to the power of the Nine Tails. Under the gaze of the Nine Tails, which was increasingly shocked, confused, and finally felt that it might have lost, Naruto's strength also increased. One kick could blow up a tree of ordinary diameter, and one punch could destroy a stone the size of a casserole on the roadside. No matter how you look at it, the Nine Tails felt that he was taken advantage of by this kid and got his chakra for free. But as time passed, the opportunity that the Nine Tails had been waiting for finally arrived. In the morning of that day, Naruto couldn't sleep well. Borrowing the power of the Nine Tails all the time not only brings powerful expressiveness, but also means extremely vigorous energy. No matter how tired you were the day before, as long as you take a short rest, you can immediately recover to the most perfect state due to the continuous healing of the Nine Tails chakra. However, being overly immersed in the Nine Tails chakra, especially the vigorous vitality represented by the Nine Tails, will eventually bring unpredictable negative changes, especially as a very young human child adapting to this power 24 hours a day. Standing in front of the mirror, Naruto's body shape has changed slightly compared to last month. His eyes are still scarlet fox vertical pupils, and his body has become stronger. Moreover, it's so swollen. Naruto looked at a part of his body that was jumping up and down. At a young age, he began to be gifted. In this aspect, there has been an amazing growth compared to other parts of the body. Why did it become like this? Naruto thought that he might be sick. During this period, he also asked the tenant in his body, but the other party didn't seem to want to explain the situation. Maybe it doesn't know. In short, Naruto, who was uncomfortable with the swelling, decided to go out for a walk. Whether it's seeing a doctor or relaxing your muscles and promoting blood circulation, it's time to go out for a walk. Konoha, a corner outside the Uchiha clan's residence, in an alley next to a store. 3 children are surrounding a child. If you look closely, you will find that in addition to the latter's exquisitely carved face, the Uchiha clan emblem is very conspicuous on his clothes. What do you 3 have to do? She raised her head and looked at 3 people of the same age. Her delicate face inherited the characteristics of the Uchiha clan. At this age, she has the label of very cute. Just looking at her will make people feel inferior. The 3 ordinary-looking and somewhat fierce children immediately pointed at her and said, "You are the Uchiha who summoned the Nine Tails. How dare you walk on the streets so arrogantly?" The Nine Tails rebellion a few years ago caused unimaginable pain to Konoha and its ninjas and residents. There is a rumor in the village that it was the Uchiha who summoned the Nine Tails. My brother was killed by the demon fox. Uchiha is everyone's enemy. The 3 children began to curse and accuse. She was originally calm, but when she heard the slander of 3 peers, she immediately became furious. Unstable lower limbs, weak arms. As an Uchiha, she is also the child of the police captain. She has been practicing with her brother since she was a child, and she can see at a glance that these 3 peers are all good for nothings. Proud Uchiha, is it not a trivial matter to deal with the 3 of them? However, the consequences caused by this will inevitably bring trouble to her parents and even the clan. So, she raised her head and began to look around. This is a small alley, and the sun does not shine in. If no one finds it. Suddenly, a strange expression appeared on her face. And the three peers who were still cursing did not notice the change in the situation. Bullying is wrong. A silly voice sounded behind him. Quote! The three bear children looked back in horror. The other party was wearing a rustic orange short-sleeved sportswear, and his golden hair was messy. No matter how you look at it, he looks very stupid. However, two needle-like red lights were shining from his scarlet vertical pupils. In addition, a ferocious aura seemed to emanate from his body. 2 seconds later, the three children's foreheads began to sweat and even tremble. Don't move. The Uchiha girl raised her lips and watched leisurely. This guy is not something you three can deal with. Shut up, you Uchiha. The leading bear child was angry and turned his head and cursed at the former. However, the moment he turned his head back again. Snap! Naruto stretched out his hand, and his cold fingers had pinched his face. Click, click. The fingers that contracted like iron clamps made the child's skull make a tooth-grinding sound. Woo, woo. The excessive fear made everyone stand still. Bang! The next second, the kid with the pinched cheek was thrown out. As easy as throwing away a garbage bag. Quote! Quote. The remaining two were scared when they saw their playmates take off immediately, flying from one end of the alley to the other. However, as Naruto made his move, the two of them suffered the same treatment before they could even utter a sound. Are you okay? After finishing dealing with the three of them at the speed of light, Naruto showed a simple smile and looked at the beautiful little girl in front of him. This Uchiha is so beautiful. Girl Seiko. There are pictures here, you can view them after updating the version. Complete body Seiko. There are pictures here, you can view them after updating the version. Although he predicted the strength of this yellow-haired peer with vertical pupils, his performance still exceeded his expectations. The Uchiha girl was slightly startled, then she straightened her cheeks. Because the arrogant Uchiha doesn't need others to save him, it's time to give him a little Uchiha shock reminder. But, what happened to you there? She was about to say something when she immediately noticed something unusual about the yellow hair. I saw the bulge in the opponent's pants, as if he was holding a big papaya. This unusual clothing is really eye-catching. It's swollen. Naruto scratched his head. I may be sick. I plan to go to the hospital today. Naruto looked down at his crotch and explained naively. The harmless appearance of humans and animals is not at all like the behavior of just throwing away 3 people. Uchiha girl. Then go to the hospital quickly. While the two were talking, Kyuubi, who was hidden in Naruto's mental space, looked stern and indescribably serious. Kyuubi. Naruto Uzumaki, a brat with half the blood of the Uzumaki clan, can barely withstand my chakra, and can be said to be a more suitable carrier of Jinchuriki. And my chakra actually has powerful vitality. It can also explain the abnormal growth of this kid. Excessive vitality can even affect the trees in the outside world, making dead trees grow again. Of course, that requires this kid to become a perfect Jinchuriki like Asura did back then. Quote. Kyuubi sneered at this, he would not become partners with today's humans. Because the world has changed. Ever since the bad seed of Indra appeared, the quality of human beings has become increasingly degraded. The so-called hell is empty and the devil is in the world. There is not a single good thing among human beings in this world today. So, I can make an assumption that the reason why this brat was not eroded by my negative emotions is because there is a real devil hidden in his heart. Because any Jinchuriki is trying to become a perfect Jinchuriki, before, I had to endure the hateful nature of the tailed beast's chakra. Not only was he not affected, but he became stronger. Quote. With this hypothesis emerging in his heart, Kyuubi stared at his host. A Jinchuriki completely different from Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Kushina. A Jinchuriki who can withstand the negative emotions of tailed beasts. What does that mean? More importantly, if this assumption is correct, it means that this kid is a born devil. In the beginning, human nature is inherently good. No, some people are just born bad. What's your name? The Uchiha girl asked the last question before leaving. Naruto, I am Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto nodded and introduced himself. And you? HMPH. I have no interest in telling others my name. The Uchiha girl turned her head pretending to be serious, leaving Naruto with a side face. The breeze blew up, blowing her bangs, making her feel indescribably proud. Tsunere. Single quote. Naruto understood. Uchiha, there are so many tsuneres. Naruto Uzumaki, your strength is pretty good. When we meet in the future, I hope you are qualified to fight with me. After saying this in a low tone, she put her hands in the pockets of her pants and left coolly. Quote. Naruto looked at the other person's leaving figure, then turned around and looked at the three naughty children who were barely getting up. Everyone, I'm a little tight lately. Naruto, who looked kind to others, his expression became gentler. Can you lend me some pocket money? When I become the 7th generation, I will make you a high-ranking official in Konoha. Kyuubi, looking forward to your next visit. A beautiful young woman walked out of the store, holding large and small bags. On the side of the road, she saw her waiting daughter. Seiko. Mom. Seiko stepped forward and took the package from her mother's hand. Seeing her daughter being so well-behaved and sensible, Uchiha Makoto couldn't help but smile. Seiko, when you grow up, you must become a good wife and mother. No, Seiko, who was carrying the package, immediately retorted. I want to learn from my father and brother, join the police department when I grow up, and become an amazing ninja. When speaking about her daughter's dream, Makoto just smiled. Once upon a time, she had the same dream, but people always change. When she meets someone she likes, even Kushina's careless character will become gentle. Thinking of her long-lost best friend, Makoto's eyes became empty. Mom, I just met an interesting guy. Seiko recounted her experience. Neither the mother and daughter passing by the street noticed the prying from the dark alley. Standing at the entrance, Naruto, who was covered by shadows, took in the whole scene. Although she had given birth to 2 children, the beautiful woman in front of her was still beautiful beyond description. The years left no traces on her, but made the wine more mellow. Under her slender figure, she was wrapped in a dark blue conservative skirt. Naruto's eyes slowly moved down, and finally, he put his eyes on the peach. This kid, is he envious of the other person's mother? In fact, he could only see the rough 9 tails, guessing that Naruto must be very envious of the other person's complete family. When Makoto and Seiko entered the vast crowd, Naruto stopped crying. It's not Sasuke Diamond Suit, it's Seiko Diamond Suit. He sighed in his heart. I have to admit that I was really shocked. Does that mean Sakura has nothing to do with it? It's Seiko. Wouldn't that mean that it would become a scenario where the protagonist chases his girlfriend thousands of miles away and they love and hate each other? What would Sakura, Ino and the others have to do with it? In addition, from the attitude of those kids towards Uchiha just now, we can see, or in other words, we can directly see the attitude of the Konoha high level towards Uchiha. Naruto, who pretends to be silly on the surface, is actually not stupid at all. As a Naruto fan and a Narutologist, he knows all the plots, causes and consequences of Naruto. How could Naruto not understand the things about Uchiha being excluded, suppressed and persecuted? If the original story goes on, the Uchiha clan will be wiped out in a few years. How sad Seiko would be if she lost her mother. I must stop this. Power. Thinking of the lovely Seiko. Thinking of Aunt Makoto with her graceful figure, and Momo. The heat in Naruto's heart surged like a volcanic eruption. Unimaginable emotional power gushed out, and the throbbing in his heart was easily detected by the 9 tails. What's wrong? The 9 tails was puzzled by Naruto's change. But it was visible to the naked eye that the seal seemed to loosen a little bit. This change made the 9 tails, who had no time to think about the cause and effect, ecstatic again. Yes, that's it, Uzumaki Naruto, use my power more. Then, one day, you will become a stepping stone for my resurrection. Naruto. The burning sensation in his abdomen indicated that more 9 tails chakra had leaked out from the seal. Naruto, who was moaning under the huge amount of chakra, also experienced changes in his body. The vertical pupils became thinner little by little. The beard-like birthmarks on both sides of his cheeks were also stained with scarlet visible to the naked eye. The teeth became sharper, the 10 fingers gradually twisted, and the nails became longer. When this series of changes stabilized, Naruto only felt an indescribable comfort in his body and mind. The small puddle under his feet reflected his current appearance. Going to the hospital in this state would definitely scare others. Naruto thought quickly in his head and soon decided to go home first. At least until this appearance disappears. Turning around, running, all in one go. Naruto's speed was at least twice as fast, and his chakra surged again, his physical strength increased, and his thinking became faster. Running in the dark alley. Naruto was determined to reverse the tragedy of the Uchiha clan. Originally, he had this plan when he traveled to this world. Now Sasuke has become Seiko Diamond Suit, and he has met Aunt Makoto, the best friend of his mother Kushina. This has made Naruto more determined to change everything. Nine-tailed fox, don't you want others to see your changes? Why, your power is already very strong now. Ignoring the nine-tailed fox's spiritual temptation, Naruto, whose strength has risen to a higher level, quickly returned to his doorstep. Just as he was about to open the door, Naruto keenly noticed something. On the ground, a few golden hairs were casually rolled into the dust in the corner. And the hair that should have been placed in the crack of the door disappeared. Naruto. There was a thief in my house. As a Jinchuriki, Naruto does not think that his growing environment is 100% safe. He should be on guard against others. So, who broke into my house? Naruto immediately left the door and climbed to the upper floor, intending to enter his home directly from the terrace. Time goes back to 1 hour ago, when the first ray of sunlight in the morning shone into Konoha. Azuki Yugao opened her eyes on time. She got up, washed, dressed, and tidied her appearance. A beautiful face appeared in the mirror. Her short hair, which was originally ear-length, has almost reached her waist after years of accumulation. Her long purple hair exudes a healthy color under the morning sun. Her snow-like skin makes her look like an exquisite porcelain doll. Her naturally beautiful cherry mouth, without lipstick, reflects a breathtaking beauty. Nodding with great satisfaction, Azuki Yugao walked into the kitchen and began to cook today's breakfast. The simple and delicious food soon exuded fragrance. When she finished all this, she took off her apron and walked out of the house with the food. The childhood sweetheart next door has also gotten up and started a day of training. Hayate, good morning. A boy of the same age with dark circles under his eyes, Moonlight Hayate. They have been neighbors since childhood and childhood sweethearts. They entered the ninja school together, trained together, and graduated together. It was not until they became official ninjas that they had their initial divergence in their paths. Yugao, good morning. With a smile on his face, Moonlight Hayate gazed at the beautiful childhood sweetheart and walked into his own courtyard. Because of the advantage of the transparent release, he served as a member of the reconnaissance team. Everything is fine at the moment, except for the bloodstain disease caused by the bloodline limit transparent release. Soon, the two entered the house, talking and laughing. Today's food is quite delicious. Moonlight Hayate, holding a knife and fork, looked at this, loved breakfast, and couldn't help but smile happily. The road to becoming a ninja is booming, and there is always such an excellent girlfriend by his side. What regrets do I have? Hayate, you say this every day. Shien sat across the table, not intending to eat. This usually indicates that there will be special or important tasks waiting for her. In fact, Azuki Shien has joined the Anbu for several years. Some people with special talents will be specially selected even when they are genin. And Shien is one of them. The top management believes that she has strong leadership skills and relatively excellent personal abilities. If she is trained more, she will definitely become the support of the Anbu in the future. Today, she will be further promoted and join the prestigious Anbu 6th team. It is said that Sharingan hero copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi is in this Anbu team. In order to cope with the assessment tasks that may become very cruel, breakfast was directly omitted. After Yu Guang Shifeng finished breakfast and put down his knife and fork, Qingmei skillfully cleaned up the dishes and planned to take them back to wash. Snap! He reached out and gently held Qingmei's wrist. Shien, let me wash the dishes today. He was very grateful to Qingmei who had always taken care of him. In order not to distract Shien, he decided to handle such trivial matters by himself. In this way, Shien could face the first test of Anbu 6th team wholeheartedly. Okay, Hayate. Shien smiled slightly, and they understood each other. She turned and left. Looking at Qingmei, who left in a dusty manner, Yugong Hayate couldn't help but take a deep breath and then coughed. Cough, cough, cough. An old problem. Shaking his head, the owner of the blood limit of the transparent escape tidy up the table. The secret preparation room of Anbu's 6th team. Shien, who came out of the dressing room, had changed her clothes. The white base and cat-shaped patterned mask covered her cheeks. The Anbu uniform tightly wrapped her figure. The lotus arms like mud and fat jade were exposed. Combined with the long purple hair like a waterfall, it creates a very high personal recognition. All the way to the entrance. Here, Azuki Yugao met her future colleagues. They were tall and short, strong and thin. The silver-haired young man in the middle of the team was very conspicuous. Long time no see, Kakashi-senpai. Yugo, who knew Kakashi's name during the ninja school days, has admired the former for many years as a junior. After all, the aura around him was too dazzling. Whether he graduated from the ninja school within half a year of entering the school, or he was a disciple of the late Yondaime Hokage and participated in the Third Ninja War, all kinds of legendary experiences are important to the younger generations of ninjas. Someone to admire. Snap. Lift the mask so it rests on the side of your head. Revealing one's true appearance also heralds the confirmation of one's identity. In this way, Shien stared at Kakashi, searching for the information in his mind while waiting for the assessment task to come. However, what the other party said next made her slightly stunned. Azuki Shien, Hokage-sama will directly issue you an assessment task. Go to the Hokage's office to report. Although there are some doubts, Anbu ninjas have a bounden duty to obey orders after all. Yes. After nodding, Shien put on her mask again and immediately passed by everyone and left the Anbu base. Looking at the girl going away, everyone had different expressions behind their masks. What a beautiful junior. Don't make random decisions, I have a boyfriend. Who? That's the guy who escaped. Oh, the inheritor of the blood-transmitting realm. Moonlight Hayate of the reconnaissance squad. The conversations of his companions were directly ignored by Kakashi. Kakashi, who seemed to know something, couldn't help but look at the Hokage rock above his head. Kakashi-senpai. Tenzo on the side noticed the change in the former. I'm just not ready to meet the teacher's children. Kakashi's murmur made Tenzo understand the key. It turns out that the task was passed off to Uoyuki Shien. But no matter what, there should be no problem with this mission. After all, the Jinchuriki is very young, and the Bagua seal set by the 4th generation is also quite strong. This junior will be able to complete it safely. I just don't know when Kakashi-senpai's heart disease will be completely cured. Tenzo thought to himself. Starting from the Anbu base, Shien walked all the way and soon arrived at the Hokage's office, and appeared in the room. Lord Hokage, Shien, who was kneeling on one knee, looked up and saw a middle-aged man standing in front of the window with his hands behind his back. Time flies. Time has finally left its mark on Lord Hokage. The appearance of more and more white hair indicates his aging. I have to say, this is a very sad thing. Shien, you're here. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around. His kind face made Shien lower his head immediately. Don't be cautious, this mission is not dangerous. Sarutobi Hiruzen sat down, then lit his pipe and started smoking. He didn't speak for a while, which made Shien couldn't help but think of the situation when he met Kakashi before. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was lost in memories, finally spoke after 5 minutes of silence. Your assessment task is to deliver this wad of living expenses to the home of a boy named Uzumaki Naruto. Quote. Taking out a stack of coins from the drawer, Sarutobi Hiruzen pushed it in front of Shugao. After instantly identifying the denomination of the coin, Shien immediately judged that it was equivalent to the orphan's monthly living expenses. Ninja is a high-risk profession, and life is full of surprises. Orphans are very common in the ninja world. Uzumaki, Naruto, Yugen, who was a little confused at first, immediately remembered something. Could it be? Yes. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, stood up, and walked towards the window again. The Nine Tails Rebellion in those days caused great damage to Konoha. Most people only know that the 4th generation couple sacrificed their lives to seal the Nine Tails, which is now the demon fox incarnation Uzumaki Naruto. But only a few people know that Uzumaki Naruto is not a demon fox, but the child of the 4th generation Hokage and his wife. As a member of the Anbu who has been working for many years, Azuki Yugen naturally knows the inside story. This also indicates that she is a Konoha ninja trusted by the Konoha high level. Originally, I was going to forget it. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head. Since Kakashi has not completely walked out of the shadow, let him continue to slowly recuperate. Anyway, I hope you can hand over this month's living expenses to that kid. Of course, he might be wary of outsiders. So it's okay to put the money quietly. Sarutobi Hiruzen explained the assessment task. Shien thought, this might not be the easiest task. The son of the 4th Hokage, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. After all, he is just a child. So this task will be completed without any effort. I will complete the task perfectly, Hokage. Shien stood up, took the money, nodded, and left the Hokage's office. When she left completely, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the portrait of the 4th Hokage on the wall and fell into reminiscence again. On the terrace of Naruto's house. Nine-Tails, you should choose to call the police. The people of the Uchiha police department are very good at dealing with this kind of thing. At this time, the Nine-Tails was still quite rational. Once the identity of the tailed beast Jinchuriki is discovered by the enemy ninja, he will be kidnapped or even assassinated. After all, there is a precedent. Kyuubi doesn't think that if something similar happens now, another Namikaze Minato will come to save people. Once the Jinchuriki is killed, the tailed beast will die together. It will take a long time to revive again. What's more terrifying is that his situation is slightly different. Back then, the other half of me was sealed in the belly of the god of death by the 4th generation with Shiki Fujin. If I die, I will most likely go directly to see the other half of myself. In the end, I will never be reborn in my life. Kyuubi, who is very afraid of this end, cherishes Naruto's life more than Naruto to some extent. By the time I call the police department, the thief will have run away. Naruto retorted, didn't you say you wanted me to kill people, stinky fox? I'm going to do it now. Soon, Naruto came to the terrace and looked inside from the outside of his window. Indoors, the Anbu girl who visited for the first time was looking at everything. Electric kettle, washing machine, refrigerator, air conditioner, TV, tables and chairs, everything is available. Just looking at the decoration and furniture, it is not an exaggeration to say that it is above average. Stepping lightly, he walked to the dining table in the middle of the living room, took out the money and put it on the table. At this point, Shien breathed a sigh of relief. Such an easy task. In this way, his assessment is completed. Anbu's 6th team, a new beginning. Shien, who was lost in thought, did not immediately notice that there was a cold gaze outside the window, staring at her, and moving with her body. But soon, Shien noticed the sudden drop in temperature in the room. She turned her head suddenly and immediately met the fierce face outside the window. Intruder, Naruto's low voice sounded. Then, the window was opened, and a figure that pounced like a beast suddenly rushed towards Shien. Nine-tailed fox. Wait, kid. She is from Konoha's Anbu. Seeing the uniform on the other party, Nine-tailed fox immediately recognized the other party's identity. But it got stuck as soon as it opened its mouth. Because Nine-tailed fox soon realized that in the cognitive system of this kid Uzumaki Naruto, there is no knowledge concept of Anbu. However, in fact, Naruto not only knew, but also predicted the identity of the Anbu female ninja under the cat mask through the other party's purple long hair and porcelain doll-like white lotus arms. Moonlight Gale's childhood sweetheart and lover. Azuki Yugao. Thinking so in his head, his body was not slow at all. Quote exclamation mark quote. Suddenly seeing Naruto rushing at him with all his strength, Azuki Yugao's face suddenly changed. The other party's scarlet vertical pupils, ferocious beard birthmarks, and sharp tiger teeth exposed in his grinning mouth, made her immediately realize that the other party was weird. And through the speed and strength of the pounce, Azuki Yugao instantly understood that the kid in front of her was not a good person. She didn't have time to think about other things. Her thoughts only reached this point. With years of ninja training, she swung her fist almost reflexively. It doesn't take much strength to teach a kid a lesson. As a chunin, and an Anbu ninja who will strive for the position of Special Jonin. In the future, she has enough confidence to deal with a dozen kids. It's as easy as eating and drinking. However, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki in front of her has become like this. Can the mission target Uzumaki Naruto really be easily dealt with? Snap. What? Azuki Yugao suddenly opened her eyes wide. In a flash, the confrontation was almost over. She saw that her fist was easily grasped and turned away by her opponent. The power from her wrist was like a pair of pliers, grabbing herself fiercely. Then, a fist with 5 extremely sharp fingers quickly enlarged in front of her face. Bang! A punch hit Azuki Yugao in the face. The Anbu girl fell backwards in response. The terrifying force even caused a large crack in the Anbu mask. You can imagine how heavy this punch was. Actually, the Nine-Tails couldn't help but widen his vertical pupils, and looked at Naruto with some surprise as he defeated the enemy with one blow. Theoretically, the strength of this female Anbu human is probably at the level of Chunin. Training in the Anbu will greatly increase her professional ability. On the contrary, the little brat Uzumaki Naruto. First, he has never been to school and is illiterate. Second, he is still young and has never received systematic ninja duel training. But the fighting talent he showed was very amazing, just like the Nine-Tails, just like the man of the 4th Hokage. The Nine-Tails, who has witnessed Naruto's growth since childhood, knows very well how much the former weighs. But Naruto's actual combat performance is still beyond its imagination. The only explanation is that the little brat Uzumaki Naruto inherited the fighting talent of his father, the 4th Hokage. Bang! Azuki Yugao's head fell heavily on the floor, and her head spun around and her head hurt. She never thought that she would mess up her assessment task. Ninjas should obey all orders. From childhood to adulthood, she has been conscientious in completing various orders issued by her superiors. During the ninja school period, she had memorized all the rules and regulations skillfully. Never careless, never underestimate the opponent. However, facing a child as this, the strength of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, ooh. Before Azuki Yugao passed out, she saw the vertical pupil burning with a needle-like red light. And the inexplicably bulging pants. Well done. When everything was settled, Naruto stood in front of the unconscious Anbu girl, and the Nine-Tails gave a fair evaluation. Uzumaki Naruto, the kid, is Konoha's Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. The human female who fell to the ground is also a member of Konoha's military force. So, is it a dog-eat-dog situation? The Nine-Tails was pleased with this. Having been in Konoha for more than half a century, there weren't many interesting things, but since being with this kid, it seems that there are a lot of fun things to do. But you're in trouble, because this female human is an Anbu of Konoha. The Nine-Tails stood from its perspective and began to educate Naruto about this special department of Konoha. Back then, after Kushina became a Jinchuriki, for a long, long time, she was closely protected by the Anbu, or watched over by her. When it comes to Uzumaki Naruto's generation, he doesn't know why, but he is allowed to do whatever he wants. The Anbu that appeared today finally brought everything back to on track. However, the top management of Konoha probably didn't expect that this guy would knock down the Anbu who came to perform the mission in one fell swoop. Hey, kid, you've got yourself into big trouble. Kyuubi's tone quickly became gloating, as if he wanted to know how Konoha's higher-ups would punish his host in the future. Like Kushina, under 24-hour guard by Anbu. Or will he fall into the hands of that old bad guy Danzo and never see the light of day again? Quote. Snap. Ignoring the chattering Kyuubi, Naruto reached out and took off the shattered mask. Maoyu Shien's porcelain doll-like face was revealed. Cheeks without makeup are very white, putting most women to shame. The naturally rosy little mouth is glowing with a bright red color, making people want to kiss her. At this time, she had suffered a severe blow to her forehead, her eyes were tightly closed, and her frown was a sign of the pain she had endured. Soon, Naruto's eyes moved left and right, passing over Azuki Shien's exposed left and right arms. Next, was the slim girlish figure that was accentuated by the Anbu uniform. After a little retrieval of the memory data from the previous life in my mind, I confirmed that in this era, Azuki Shien's age was that of an otome, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that she was still in bud. Girls in the ninja world generally mature prematurely, whether it's mind or body. So, snap, Naruto reached out and grabbed one of Azuki Shien's arms. Then, he walked towards a certain direction without looking back. The dragged Uoyuki Shien rubbed against the wooden floor, making a slight rustling sound. What are you going to do? Kyuubi immediately became curious as to what this brat was going to do. Looking at the direction Naruto was walking towards, that was the direction of the basement. It is usually used as a storage room, but it may also be used as a secret practice room in the future. It's very common for ninjas to have such a place in their homes. I came up with a solution to the swelling. Quote, Naruto, who originally planned to go to Konoha Hospital, suddenly had an idea and changed his mind because of the intrusion of Azuki Shien. The basement partition was opened, and Naruto dragged Azuki Shien down slowly. One step after another, the steps are illuminated by the light as the light rope is pulled. In the lighted basement, there are some bottles and jars and sundries. Plop, Naruto casually shook his hand and let go of Azuki Shien's arm, who completely collapsed in the middle of the secret room. The next second, Naruto lowered his head. Quote. Kyuubi suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. A rustling sound sounded immediately. Under the light, Naruto's profile appeared on the side wall. The high-frequency flashing lamps made Naruto's shadow shake and pull back and forth, like the silhouette of a demon. The monster inside me has grown so big. Naruto's murmur was clearly heard by Kyuubi. Kyuubi. The terrifying monster was also reflected on the wall, overlapping with Naruto's silhouette. Naruto slowly raised his eyes and looked at the Anbu girl, who was completely unable to resist. The latter collapsed on the floor and remained unconscious. In the basement, the dim light was still flickering. On the side wall, the silhouette of the monster jumping after jumping became more and more ferocious. Soon, the monster is closing in on its prey, waiting to taste flesh or unleash evil. Mao Yuxian's shadow swayed and she sat up from the floor. Obviously, she couldn't move on her own in her coma, so it was Naruto who pulled her up with both hands. Her silhouette and the ferocious monster soon formed eyes facing each other, looking at each other. Hey! The next moment, the monster's shadow penetrated the girl's head and completely overlapped it. Naruto. Oh! In the basement, Naruto held the prey's head, and the sound of the monster's bite continued to sound. Kyuubi watched this scene, silent and shocked for a long time. From Naruto's birth to everything he has experienced now, it looks back on it like a revolving door. In just a moment, Kyuubi recalled everything. The question I've been wondering about finally has an answer. It finally understood why its own hatred did not produce any negative changes in the brat Uzumaki Naruto. Ha ha ha, interesting, so interesting. The ferocious moans and laughter of the Kyuubi resounded through Naruto's mind. Naruto Uzumaki, you were born a devil. Under your bright appearance, you hide the deepest malice of mankind. To you, others are insects in your eyes, and the world is a place for you to vent your evil thoughts. An amusement park. Hee hee hee. Then let me see what this ninja world created by Old Man Six Paths will look like. Naruto. Well, Stinky Fox, I don't understand what you are talking about at all. In short, I am a good person. Hey, Mao Yuxian. Time passes. I don't know how long has passed. The silhouette of the monster reflected on the side wall suddenly accelerated. After a violent and continuous biting, the rapid attack finally stopped. Swish, 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 swish. The shadow that suddenly stopped moving maintained the current action for a long time, a long time. At a certain moment, the shadow slowly retreated. The monster that released the evil thoughts finally stopped seeking outside. Slightly satisfied, it began to shrink back into the host's body and fell into a deep sleep, and everything was settled. After a while, the fainted Anbu girl slowly woke up. Azuki Yugao opened her eyes and felt a splitting headache. The moment she regained consciousness, she subconsciously made a protective action and tried to get up. However, the resistance from her body prevented her from getting up successfully. Rope, ordinary hemp ropes tied her upper body, and placed her in place. Her two slender legs could move freely and were not restricted. She was a little amused. It was not until she looked up and saw the pretty blonde boy that her attention was suddenly diverted. Don't be nervous, sister from the Anbu, I was reckless just now. Naruto stretched out his hand and signaled Azuki Yugao not to get excited. At this time, Yugao had been dragged back to the living room from the basement. Yugao stared at the boy with narrowed eyes in front of him. No matter how you look at it, he looks harmless. Before he fainted, his fierce face was in sharp contrast to his current performance. What happened? Was the previous look due to the effect of the tailed beast's chakra? Just now I thought there was a thief in the house. Naruto described while pointing to his abdomen. It told me that, sister, you are actually a member of the Anbu. Naruto's description made Azuki Yugao, who listened carefully, immediately realize that this should be a reminder from the nine-tailed fox. As Konoha's treasure, the nine-tailed fox has lived in Konoha for so many years and is very familiar with all kinds of things, which is very reasonable. Soon, Naruto untied the rope for her, and Azuki Yugao, who had escaped successfully, was able to stand up. She first checked her injuries: a slight concussion of the head, a slight sprain of the wrist. In addition, ... Azuki Yugao pursed her lips for a few times, and felt that there seemed to be a strange taste in her mouth. What did this kid do to her? Oh, just now I saw that you fainted, sister, so I fed you some milk. Naruto looked silly, which made Azuki Yugao believe it a little. But she was still half believing and half doubting. And soon, her cheeks began to burn. Because although the child in front of her was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, he was just a child who had not even entered the ninja school. As an elite of the Anbu, she was defeated by a face-to-face encounter. This could not help but make Yugao feel a strong sense of shame and frustration in her heart. She has always been conscientious in her tasks and is quite proud of her own abilities, but in the end she lost to a child. This is something that cannot be accepted in any way. Therefore, she immediately began to explain the purpose of her visit. Uzumaki Naruto. Lord Hokage ordered me to give you this month's living expenses. After saying that, Shien left the scene without looking back. She couldn't stay here any longer. However, when she passed by Naruto, her eyes subconsciously moved downward, and the position was Naruto's pants. It was very peaceful there, as if the scene I saw before was an illusion. ... Naruto looked at Uchiha Shien's leaving figure and slowly opened his narrowed eyes. The scarlet vertical pupil swayed, and the needle-like red light lit up again. After leaving Naruto's house, Uchiha Shien suddenly realized that it was already dusk. This made her feel even more frustrated and even a little desperate. You came here in the morning, but a small task of delivering money turned into an afternoon and you didn't come back until dusk. Shien, who was quite despairing, thought that this mission would definitely be judged as a failure. And that's almost certainly true. This made her feel extremely unconfident about her usual practice. Subconsciously, he reached out his hand and grasped the handle of the blade behind his back. Only then did I feel a little more at ease. It's just an ordinary fight. Shien comforted herself. He didn't use his ninjutsu or his most proud swordsmanship, it was due to carelessness. After checking, she found that nothing was missing from her body, and she breathed a sigh of relief. It would have been even more embarrassing if he had been disarmed by the nine-tailed Jinchuriki again, but fortunately it didn't happen like this. Let's report to Lord Hokage first. After thinking about it, Shien decided to reply to the task. Even though it's too late, the finishing touches must be made. As for what will happen to my Anbu career in the future, I'll leave it to fate. Shien, who was passing by, was focused on her own thoughts and did not notice a sneaky little figure approaching Naruto's house quickly. Naruto-kun, a cute girl with white eyes, a slightly red face, and an expectant smile on her lips. She moved quickly, eager to see the hero who saved her last time in the woods. Gu, open the refrigerator and gulp down a bottle of real milk. Naruto couldn't help but let out a hearty groan. The swelling has finally subsided. No one has ever used Nine-Tails chakra 24 hours a day, and naturally no one has experienced what he has experienced. The Nine-Tails chakra has strong vitality. In the Nine-Tails chakra mode, it can even regenerate dead trees and directly affect the outside world. Even if he takes a step back, he is still as powerful as the Golden Horn and Silver Horn brothers. In other words, only those who have eaten the flesh and blood of the Nine-Tails, which is equivalent to carrying the DNA and chakra of the 9 tails for life, can use it as their own reference. Using tailed beast chakra for a long time will inevitably cause unpredictable changes to the human body. So far, the side effects are pretty much the same. The overly strong vitality carried by the Kyuubi caused certain parts of his body to develop and grow beyond their capacity. Through Maoyu Shien, the problem was solved temporarily. What to do next? The power of Kyuubi can be called a cheat, and he cannot give up immediately. There must be a road before the car reaches the mountain, and people will not be choked to death by a splash of urine. Throw empty milk cartons in the trash. Then, Naruto reached towards the table with his left hand, grabbed the living expenses Shien sent, and put it into his pocket naturally. It was delivered by the third Hokage himself before. It seems that he has become very busy recently. Naruto glanced at the time and planned to go out and settle down for dinner. If you have living expenses, treat yourself to Ichiraku ramen. However, as soon as he opened the door, he saw a figure of the same height standing outside. Naruto-kun. She has short, ear-length hair, a well-sculpted cute face, and an incredible gentleness. Especially the pair of white eyes are extremely eye-catching. Wearing a white home kimono, she was wrapped into a Japanese-style doll. At this time, it was already dusk. Hinata, who was standing at the door, saw Naruto suddenly opening the door. She couldn't help but flinch, bewildered, and didn't know how to respond. Obviously, her prepared wording for knocking on the door was suddenly disrupted. "It's Hinata, come in quickly." Naruto ignored her embarrassment and openly invited Hinata into the house. The next second, Hinata slowly walked into the room with a happy smile. It should be said that he is worthy of being a child from a big family. Every move she makes is full of rules. The Hyuga clan is the largest clan in Konoha. He has an old-fashioned education and the inheritance of white eyes and soft boxing. In terms of appearance, they are often delicate or beautiful. Just like the Uchiha clan. Naruto-kun, long time no see. Hinata sat down and watched Naruto walk towards the refrigerator. Her gaze kept swaying, as if she wanted to look but didn't dare. The reddish cheeks are a sign of love that cannot be more obvious. Humans in the world of Naruto are generally precocious. Age is no barrier to love. Ever since she was rescued by Naruto in the woods last month, Hinata, besides remembering her kindness, fell in love with Naruto at first sight. In short, love at first sight. Bang! The refrigerator was opened, and the full stock of milk proved what a rich man is. Naruto took a look. All the milk was arranged in order of date. Naruto reached his hand to the innermost and took out the bottle with the earliest date. And it was obvious, this bottle of milk was expired. The milk is expired, kid. The 9 tails, lying behind the sealed iron door, watched this scene and reminded. After experiencing the previous attack on the Anbu girl, Azuki Yugao, it was certain that the Uzumaki Naruto kid was a demon. Naruto's every move became unpredictable in the 9 tails' eyes. It could no longer guess what Naruto would do next. Or what big move would be involved in seemingly ordinary actions. Naruto, who completely ignored it, or pretended not to hear it, still turned around and walked towards Hinata with the expired milk. "Hinata, please drink milk." Pa. Naruto swung the box of milk directly on the table in front of Hinata. "Thank you, Naruto-kun." The girl with the white eyes smiled so hard that she couldn't close her mouth. She felt extremely honored. She knelt on the floor and took the milk formally. Then she opened it and drank it in small sips under Naruto's gaze. Looking at this scene, the 9 tails was speechless. The premonition was confirmed. It was finally confirmed. This little brat Uzumaki Naruto is not only a demon, but also a cub. A species. Taking advantage of the fact that he ate the other party to death, he started the lowest cost strategy directly. Even if a bunch of rotten vegetables were thrown over, this female white-eyed cub would treat it as a delicacy. Naruto-kun is watching me. Hinata drank the expired milk in small sips, looking up at Naruto from time to time. And Naruto, with his eyes narrowed into a slit, looked as silly as he could be at this time. However, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. In Hinata's opinion, Uzumaki Naruto is the most beautiful man in the ninja world. Until she lowered her head completely under Naruto's gaze, the atmosphere in the living room fell into an awkward state. Hinata, who is relatively introverted, is not good at socializing. Especially with a strict father, her words and deeds become even more taciturn. As for Naruto, although he has social bull syndrome, Kyuubi no longer expects Naruto to take the initiative to talk. Because it is obvious that this white-eyed female human cub is being eaten to death by Uzumaki Naruto. He doesn't even plan to say a word to improve his favorability. That, Naruto-kun. Hinata slowly put down the milk carton and raised her head slightly. Last time, the last method. How did the chakra extraction go? Not bad. Naruto, whose eyes were still narrowed into a line, scratched his head and responded casually. Hearing the answer, Hinata couldn't help but curl up the corners of her mouth slightly. Naruto-kun, I brought a book this time. Soon, Hinata took out a literacy course for preschool from her arms. In this world, in addition to the skills of a ninja, one must also be able to read and write to survive. Otherwise, one cannot even understand the courses at the ninja school level. Let's study together. The eyes of the white-eyed girl flickered with anticipation. HMPH. The Nine-Tails was lying behind the iron gate in boredom, taking in the scene. This little girl named Hyuga Hinata was very gentle and knew how to think about Naruto. It was obvious that she had learned to read a long time ago, but she used the excuse of learning together to forgive Naruto's ignorance. So, how would this little brat Uzumaki Naruto respond? Okay, Naruto agreed very straightforwardly. Then the two of them leaned over the table and started the preschool course. But the Nine-Tails felt that with Uzumaki Naruto's unhuman character, things might not end so easily. The shadow of dusk completely enveloped the Hokage's office. Azuki Yugao knelt on one knee, and with a very ashamed mood, reported the specific process of the mission to the third Hokage. When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard that the Nine-Tails chakra might have been leaked, his eyebrows could not help but frown slightly. The fourth Hokage used the 8 trigrams seal to deal with the Nine-Tails. Theoretically, this seal is very strong. It is almost impossible to be easily destroyed. So, according to the judgment, this should be a trace of the Nine-Tails chakra running out from the gap in the seal, which should be regarded as the initial loosening of the seal. I'm sorry, Lord Hokage, I didn't complete the assessment task in time. Azuki Yugao immediately lowered her head, her tone full of shame. Sarutobi Hiruzen turned around and left the window. According to Yugao's description, Naruto stopped in time, and the Nine-Tails informed him of the existence of the Anbu. It is very common for Jinchuriki to communicate with the tailed beasts. So, has Naruto discovered his identity? The rumors of the demon fox began to spread in the village at some point. In the past few years, Naruto has suffered from the villagers' contempt and hostility. Even most of the grassroots ninjas who are unaware of the situation think that Naruto is the incarnation of the demon fox, and they despise him very much. If this continues, coupled with the Nine-Tails' constant bewitching of Naruto, it is inevitable that the tragedy that happened that year will not happen. Thoughts flow. Sarutobi Hiruzen has made the decision to go to Naruto in person. Lord Hokage, I hope you can give me another chance. Quote. Seeing that the Sandaime was slow to answer, Shien thought that she had completely disappointed the Hokage, so she couldn't help but ask immediately. Shien, this is not your fault, don't take it to heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was originally going to say this, stopped talking, thought for a while, and gave a completely different answer. Then, Shien, from now on, the task of giving Naruto this child living expenses every month will be handed over to you. Since Kakashi is not ready to face Naruto. At present, Shien, who has been in contact with Naruto, has become the best candidate. She will definitely be very good at knowing shame and then being brave. Mission. In other words, Shien will also take on the responsibility of regularly reporting Naruto's situation. Back then, there were 2 Anbu monitoring Kushina all the time. Facts have proved that this is not foolproof. So after careful consideration, the top management chose a completely different training path for Naruto's generation, free range. However, it is time to add a bond to Naruto. With close people, he will deepen his love and belonging to the village. When more and more people stand by his side, Naruto will fully recognize the village and become a part of it. Yes, Lord Hokage, I will do my best to complete it. Shien's heart suddenly turned from cloudy to sunny, and she was very happy. Then, she said goodbye and left the Hokage building. It's time for me to get off work. Quote, Sarutobi Hiruzen took off his Hokage hat and his solemn robe, and soon transformed into a kind old man. Next, it was time to go and take a look at Naruto's place. Naruto's house. Hinata. Cha, K, L. Naruto. Cha, Dora. Hinata. Cha, K, L. Naruto. Cha, Dora. Hinata. Nine-tailed fox. Hinata was a little confused, and Naruto couldn't teach her how to do it after she got to this point. After teaching for many times in a row, Naruto kept reading chakra as Chidora. Hinata had to start wondering if she had learned it wrong. She was going to go back and ask her maid, Axia, for advice. Let's stop here today, Naruto, it's getting late, and I should go back too. Hinata didn't pick up the book on the table, and it was obvious that she was going to use this as an excuse to come back. It was already dark outside. If I don't go back quickly, it will be bad if my father and others find out. Oh, Naruto and Hinata stood up and watched the latter walk away. When they reached the door, Hinata suddenly turned her head. That. Naruto-kun. Naruto. The 27th of this month is my birthday, can you come then? Hinata blushed and hesitated, her eyes began to look around. Obviously, she hoped Naruto could come. And this was a little bit of a first-mover advantage. Hinata certainly wanted to bind Naruto, who was so outstanding. This was also her little thought. No problem. Naruto nodded, his attitude was ordinary, neither happy nor sad. When Hinata heard Naruto's affirmative answer, she was immediately very happy. Great. Hinata couldn't help laughing, and even her steps became much lighter. Is it fun to deceive a little girl? The bored Nine-Tails asked sullenly. You clearly know that chakra should read chakra, but you deceived this female human cub with white eyes. Hinata's birthday. Naruto, who was lost in thought, completely ignored the Nine-Tails question. If nothing unexpected happens, that thing will happen. In the original work, on Hinata's birthday, the Union Village delegation arrived in Konoha and brought the possibility of signing the Alliance Treaty. On that day, everyone participated in the celebration, except the Hyuga clan. Because that day was Hinata's birthday, and it was also the day when the children of the branch family who reached the age were branded with the mark of the caged bird. On the same day, Neji was imprisoned by fate and witnessed his uncle Hyuga Hiyashi launching the mark of the caged bird to punish his younger brother, that is, Neji's father Hyuga Hiyashi, and from then on, he buried his hatred for the main family. That night, the ninja leader of the Union delegation sneaked into the Hyuga clan's residence and kidnapped Hinata. Hyuga Hiyashi chased the thief, shot him to death, and successfully took back his eldest daughter. But this also caused the Union village to turn the tables, causing the Hyuga clan to face a life and death decision. In the end, Hyuga Hiyashi sacrificed himself, replaced his brother, and sent his body to the Union village. Hey, kid, the Kyuubi, who didn't get a reply, noticed the change in the host as soon as he opened his mouth. And this time, it was reverse infusion. The color of the sealed space changed. The sewer, which was originally a bit dark, became even darker and even rusty. On the ground of the sewer, the transparent water flowed faster and began to turn black. All this was like a scene in a horror movie that would make people lose their sand value. This situation, the Kyuubi was stunned, and then ecstatic. Although the sealing technique was completely different and the scene was different, it still keenly judged the changes in the Jinchuriki's heart. The last time a similar situation occurred, it was when the darkness in Kushina's heart gradually permeated her reason. And this would also become a possibility for it to escape. If there was no Namikaze Minato at that time, he would have succeeded. This kid had a great evil thought in his heart. It was after Hinata Hyuga invited her for her birthday. The Kyuubi didn't know the specific reason, but the beginning of the incident was like this. Naruto. Stinky fox, it's time to pay the rent, give me a little more chakra. Power. Only with power can you dominate everything. The next moment, the seal loosened again. The huge sealed iron door trembled suddenly, making a clanging sound of metal colliding. Then, the chakra on the Nine-Tails turned into flowing color and rushed out from the gap between the iron railings. Hinata walked out of the open entrance door. It was completely dark outside. The stars appeared, and the dim street lights in the distance illuminated the walking road. People came and went on the street, and Konoha, a prosperous village, ushered in another nightlife. Hinata, who had already said good night, was full of joy. There is nothing to say. Next, it was all the way home, and then waited for Naruto-kun to attend his birthday party at the end of this month. Thinking of this, Hinata planned to leave here without looking back. But she had just walked out a few steps, and she felt the cold wind blowing on her face, and her back suddenly felt cold. Hinata subconsciously stopped and looked back. Naruto-kun was standing at the door. The light in the room was projected, wrapping him in a layer of warm light. Naruto-kun, with his eyes narrowed into a line, was kind and simple. Everything was so beautiful. However, Hinata, who was full of love, did not notice that the shadow under Naruto's feet, reflected by the light, had turned into a twisted shape with fangs and claws. The human silhouette now had 2 long ears, which looked like the horns of a demon. The arms became long and the sharp claws seemed to be the arms of some monster. And the tail of the demon fox reflected on the wall of the entrance was dancing even more wantonly. Naruto-kun, good night. Hinata, who did not notice the slightest abnormality, blushed slightly, and after saying good night again, she ran away immediately. Staring at Hinata's back, Naruto slowly opened his eyelids. The vertical pupils that had been transformed into a line revealed an incomparable hideousness. The red light like a needle tip shone in the center of the pupil. When the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen found Naruto, Naruto had already sneaked into the back mountain of Konoha to practice fishing. Splash! The splashing water, accompanied by Naruto's bare-handed grabbing action, a lively fish was caught by Naruto. Looking at the fresh life jumping in his hands, Naruto narrowed his eyes and carefully observed its reaction. Not enough. Naruto stood in the water with his trouser legs rolled up. If the newly acquired power is not tested, it is equivalent to walking in the night with gorgeous clothes. Because the next big event will not face the ninjas of his own camp like Azuki Yugao, but the more powerful leader of the Kumogakur ninja. Strength is strength, and the means of attack is means. Without real swords and guns, it is just a show after all. So, Naruto immediately chose the target to the back mountain of Konoha where he often came. The usual fishing is just fishing. Fishing nowadays is to practice killing. What's not enough? The 9-tailed fox was puzzled. Although it could sense all of Naruto's emotions and his mood changes. But it didn't know what Naruto was thinking. But it knew that this kid was already planning something extraordinary. Plop! The next second, Naruto threw the fish back into the water. It swam hurriedly and immediately left this place of trouble. Cough cough cough. Just then, a cough sounded. Sarutobi Hiruzen came out of the bushes and watched Naruto's operation in its entirety. Grandpa, Naruto, who saw Sarutobi Hiruzen appear, naturally greeted Sarutobi Hiruzen. They had met many times before, and the repeated contacts made them gradually familiar with each other. Naruto, are you here to catch fish? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had seen Naruto catch fish before, specially increased Naruto's living expenses for this purpose. He would naturally not let Naruto live in poverty. But Sarutobi Hiruzen was puzzled. Shien had given the child living expenses today, so why did he go out fishing so late? Yeah, Naruto nodded. Why did you put the fish you caught back? Sarutobi Hiruzen asked again. I suddenly felt that it was too pitiful. Naruto narrowed his eyes and said gently. I used to catch fish because I couldn't eat enough. Now I have money and enough to eat, so I have time to think about this problem. I think, maybe there is no need to hurt its life to satisfy my own appetite. When Naruto talked about not having enough to eat before, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes dimmed a little. And when Naruto talked about pitying the lives of animals, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but smile. What a kind child. Crack. Is the third Hokage suffering from Alzheimer's disease? Seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression, the 9 tails immediately understood. It immediately complained. Uzumaki Naruto, this kid, deceived the third Hokage. Grandpa, have you eaten yet? Why don't you come home with me? I'll treat you to some instant noodles. Wow, Naruto started to land step by step. Sarutobi Hiruzen opened his eyes and suddenly realized that this proposal was a good one. So he nodded and walked towards the center of the village with Naruto. Naruto, how is your life lately? As they walked, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to talk from small talk. It's been pretty good lately. I've made a lot of friends. Naruto scratched his head and began to introduce the unknown Uchiha, Seiko, the Anbu sister, Azuki Yugo, and the poor little girl with cataracts. Cough cough cough. When Sarutobi Hiruzen heard Naruto calling Hinata a cataract, he couldn't help but cough. Children's words are not forbidden. Children's words are not forbidden. The eldest daughter of the Hazu family. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of that cute little girl. Hinata's mother is said to be pregnant. I just don't know if the second child is a boy or a girl. The fact that Naruto made new friends made Sarutobi Hiruzen very happy. Except for Hazu's eldest daughter, the newly met Azuki Yugao, and the unknown Uchiha. It couldn't be Seiko, the youngest daughter of the Fugaku family. Then this is a big deal. Is everything a coincidence of fate and Naruto's own efforts? In short, Naruto, who has met many companions, will slowly establish himself in this village and eventually become as good a ninja as his parents. Sarutobi Hiruzen was looking forward to this in his heart. Because to him, everyone in the village is his family, and Naruto is no exception. Grandpa, I have a dream. I will become as powerful a ninja as the fourth Hokage. I also want to become Hokage. A determined look appeared on Naruto's face. Oh. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised to hear Naruto's dream speech. Although I am very happy that Naruto wants to become the Hokage, the Kyuubi in him. The Yondaime sealed the demon fox, and the demon fox is in my body. At this point, Naruto's tone became much lower. Really, Sarutobi Hiruzen thought. According to Shien's report, there is a chance that Naruto, the child, will understand the past events after talking to Kyuubi. So, does he know who his biological parents are? Will Kyuubi tell Naruto these things? Naruto, the Yondaime sacrificed his life, and I will not let his sacrifice be in vain. As long as I live, I will take good care of the demon fox and prevent it from running out and harming everyone. Just like the Yondaime Hokage do that. Kyuubi, this is completely unbelievable. Naruto. Sarutobi Hiruzen was immediately moved. After thinking for a moment, he decided to ask Naruto something. No matter what, you are a part of Konoha. I believe, you will definitely become an outstanding ninja surpassing the Yondaime Hokage. As for Naruto's dream, although it may not be possible, because this is the confinement of being the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Just like Mito-sama and Kushina. But this kid's determination is impressive. After some conversation, Sarutobi Hiruzen was sure, this child would definitely not harm the village. Therefore, he was not going to tell Koharu, or Danzo about what happened to Naruto today, so as not to cause more trouble. After all, how much this kid loves the village. Naruto, you don't have to worry too much. Although you have to face the strange looks from the villagers as you bear the demon fox, after all, you are also the hero who protected this village. So, Sarutobi Hiruzen, I am the Sandaime Hokage, but Naruto, you are the real hero. Naruto, Grandpa, looking at the two people who cherished each other, Kyuubi felt like he was about to vomit. One of them really dares to praise it, while the other one dares to act. Hearing the sound of Kyuubi gagging, Naruto couldn't help but tell it, Stinky Fox, you don't understand, this is the bond that only exists between us Konoha ninjas. Kyuubi, if you laugh, I can act. I laugh at you for not understanding the will of fire. Same moment. When Mao Yu Shien returned home, she received a surprise. My childhood sweetheart, Yu Guofeng, lit up the living room early and cooked personally, preparing a table of sumptuous food. Shien, you're back. Moonlight Hayate, who was wearing an apron, came forward with a smile on her face. Shien, who was standing at the door, was stunned. The table full of food and warm lighting create a romantic atmosphere. Uoyuki Shien, who hadn't eaten all day, felt that she should have a strong appetite. Hayate, I'm back. Shien, who also showed a smile, quickly took her seat. The two were facing each other, across the dining table. The table is not placed with food randomly, but with a white tablecloth underneath. This looks more romantic. The two have been getting along together since childhood. Although the relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend has not been officially confirmed, everyone knows that the two of them are a couple and will get together sooner or later. Shien, looking at the beautiful green plums under the dinner lights. Moonlight Hayate took off her apron and began to think about words. Qingmei, who had been hungry all day, picked up the knife and fork and prepared to eat. However, the joy in his heart turned stiff when he looked at the food. What's wrong? Moonlight Hayate, who also picked up the knife and fork, asked a question. Seeing Shi Yan's delay in taking action, he mistakenly thought that there was something wrong with the dinner. So, he immediately tasted the dishes first. How to say it? Very delicious. Just like what you tasted before serving. So, Shi Yan is. Haifeng, staring at the sumptuous dinner on the table, Shi Yan, who should have been feasting, suddenly lost any appetite. Or, were you not hungry in the first place? The next second, Shi Yan suddenly thought of her experience at the house of the nine-tailed Jinchuriki and Uzumaki Naruto during the day. When he woke up, he said he fed himself a lot of milk. So, were you full at that time? Azuki Shien didn't know that the nine-tail's strong vitality chakra affected Naruto's physique. Naruto's physique, in turn, affected her drinking milk. Milk alone cannot fully satisfy your hunger. However, Naruto's milk is food with added ingredients. So, Shien took a small bite slowly, then chewed and smiled at her childhood sweetheart. Moonlight Blast also smiled immediately. The two enjoyed the dinner as if nothing had happened. Of course, for Shi Yan, this was completely tortuous. An hour later, dinner is finally over. It was getting late, and after Hayate put away the plates, he said goodnight and left. Looking at the darkened living room, Shi Yan couldn't bear it anymore and ran to the bathroom to vomit. After all, her appetite is limited, so if she eats by force, this will happen. But in order not to make her childhood sweetheart sad and the meal she had worked so hard to prepare disappear, she forced herself to eat a lot. After almost vomiting, Shi Yan took a breath, then entered the bathroom and turned on the shower. Wow, when the warm water poured on her body, her senses experienced new changes. So hot. The body suddenly became very hot. I don't know why Shi Yan became like this because she drank milk with added ingredients. She was getting hotter and hotter, so she quickly switched the shower head to cold water. It wasn't until the cold water washed over her that she felt much better. What's wrong with me? Shien, who knew nothing about what happened to her, couldn't figure it out all night long. Early morning a week later. In the woods near Naruto's house. Naruto, who had further gained the power of the tailed beast, spent the past 7 days here exercising. Although the location of this small forest is not large, it is enough for Naruto to use all his abilities. The rumbling sound continued. Naruto swam among them at extremely fast speeds. Soon it was getting dusty. When the broken tree was ruthlessly divided into several sections, Naruto nodded with great satisfaction. The lame movements and weird techniques failed to cover up the advantage in lethality. Kyuubi, who had watched Naruto train for a week, was silent after the early complaints. After all, Naruto hasn't entered the ninja school yet, so he naturally can't learn standard taijutsu or anything like that. Every kick is done as he pleases, looking weird and exaggerated. Bang! After a 1-meter cubic stone was easily hammered open, Naruto stopped and began to consider the next step to use a harder object to further his skills. The rocks scattered into dozens of pieces and rolled all over the ground. Naruto felt extremely proud. Kyuubi lay lazily behind the sealed iron gate and watched all this happen. It found that the boy barely noticed that he needed a weapon. Although the tailed beast chakra can greatly enhance the lethality of the Jinchuriki, when dealing with people, if there are sharp blades such as kunai and kodachi, the killing efficiency will be even higher. Maybe you need a weapon. Kyuubi gave sound advice. Most of the time, the enemies that ninjas face are ninjas who are also human beings. Psychic beasts, tailed beasts, and even Jinchuriki, are all rare opponents. Kyuubi had no way of knowing Naruto's attitude, because it found that it couldn't see through this kid at all. I don't know what he will do next second. This, unexpected number 1, trait, is he inherited the trait from his mother, Uzumaki Kushina. In addition, it could faintly sense that Naruto Uzumaki was preparing something. It seems to be welcoming the arrival of something, or planning some kind of big event. Maybe. Naruto looked at the devastated grove in front of him. If he made more noise, it would definitely attract unnecessary attention and trouble. So, I might have to change places next time. Arms. The place where weapons are sold is naturally a bustling downtown, that is, a shopping street. It was the center of Konoha and the place with the most traffic. But if you appear anywhere, you will definitely receive the negative social gaze that a demon fox should bear. When the demon fox comes to the downtown area openly, how will people react? Naruto had faced this many times in the past. So this is not a problem. The most important thing is, as Hinata's birthday is approaching, major events will also begin. I am the child of destiny, Naruto Uzumaki. I am the man who will become the 7th generation Hokage and change all kinds of tragedies. Naruto thought, intoxicated. The first tragedy, attempt to change, is right in front of us. Plus, it's time to get out and see some blood. GG. At the same time, on the edge of Konoha, the Uchiha clan was stationed. The chirping of birds heralds the arrival of morning. Zuozi stretched out, got up from the bed, and then ran into the bathroom with vigorous steps. After washing up, she stood in front of the mirror and arranged her clothes, and then hurried to the living room. Early in the morning, the unsmiling father was sitting in the living room as usual, holding today's newspaper in his hand. Chapter 11. The mother, wearing an apron, brought breakfast from the kitchen. The brother returned from the backyard and finished his morning exercise. After saying hello to her family, Seiko sat in her seat with a smile on her face, feeling the warmth from her family. Brother, you didn't ask me to join you for morning exercise today. Seiko couldn't help but act like a spoiled child to her brother. In her mind, her brother is the best role model for learning. As her brother became a ninja, he has become busier recently. Seiko, you are still young, and you need to get enough sleep to grow better. Itachi looked at his lovely sister, and his expressionless face couldn't help but smile. Witnessed his sister's birth and growth with his own eyes. Raised her and taught her ninja skills in the process. For Itachi, his sister is a treasure from God and the cutest girl in the world. Seiko couldn't help but curl her lips at her brother's words. Uchiha Fugaku, who was reading a newspaper, put down the newspaper in his hand and looked at his daughter. Seiko, you will get married sooner or later when you grow up, so just be a good wife and mother like your mother. Hearing her husband praising her, Makoto couldn't help but smile reservedly. She looked at her husband with love. Although they have been married for many years, the couple has not distanced themselves. On the contrary, the passage of time has made their connection closer. Dad, I have said many times that when I grow up, I want to join the police department, work with you and my brother, perform tasks, and become the best and most outstanding ninja. Seiko told her family about her dream. Housewife. I won't do that. Looking at this happy atmosphere, Itachi couldn't help but smile deeper. The family is so happy, and he has been moving towards the dream of Hokage. Everything seems perfect. It's just thinking of the tribe members, especially the radicals led by Yashira, Anahime, and Tetsuka, and the younger generation of ninjas in the tribe who were increasingly dissatisfied with the village. Itachi couldn't help but start to worry. I'm starting. Sako's cheerful voice pulled Itachi out of the vortex of thinking. He picked up a piece of vegetable and put it in his sister's bowl. Seiko, eat more vegetables to grow taller. Seiko, humph, I'm not a shorty. Seeing this scene, Makoto couldn't help but smile gently. Wait until breakfast is over. Uchiha Fugaku was the first to leave home. As the captain of the Uchiha police department, he has a lot of things to deal with every day. Next was Makoto, who had to go to the barber shop today. Only the brother and sister were left at home. Just when Seiko thought that she could learn ninja skills with her brother today, there was a knock on the door outside. At the same time, the hearty and familiar voice also made Seiko depressed. 1 against 7. Only that man could say such an unserious tone. Shisui. Itachi immediately stood up and left the living room to go to the courtyard. After opening the door, a figure of a tribe member with phoenix eyes and a round nose leaning against the door came into Seiko's sight. Hey, little Seiko. The bright and cheerful man in front of her was the famous, instant body Shisui, in the Uchiha clan. Even the ninjas from the enemy country knew his name. In terms of age, he was a generation older than her brother, and he was also her brother's good friend. Shisui-san. Seiko knew when she saw him coming over that he was going to kidnap her brother again today. This round nose. Just when Seiko was secretly criticizing Uchiha Shisui, the latter suddenly hit her head. Ah! Seiko immediately hugged her head. Ha ha. Uchiha Shisui's hearty laughter resounded in the place. Itachi, let's go. Yeah. Itachi nodded and followed immediately. Seeing that the two were about to leave, Seiko was very unhappy. Shisui-san. You are always like this, how can I practice ninja skills with my brother? Then why don't you make a good friend and practice with your friend? Uchiha Shisui closed his single eye and responded with a smile. HMPH. Seiko tilted her head. The Uchiha clan is very proud, how can ordinary people be in their eyes? At this moment, a yellow-haired figure appeared in Sako's mind. Seiko, the task of buying vegetables is left to you. Before leaving, Itachi told his sister about today's task. Mother Makoto went to the barber shop, so it was up to his sister to buy vegetables. Little Seiko, in the end you are still a housewife. Shisui's mocking laughter quickly faded away. HMPH. Seiko, who was so angry, slammed the door, put his hands in his pockets, and left home. Buying groceries, usually we go to the shopping street, today is no different. The Hyuga clan's residence. Have a nice trip, the beautiful woman standing at the door said to her daughter and the maid of the branch family. She had long, smooth hair and the same gentleness on her face as Hinata. The woman wearing a long robe, which could hardly hide her voluptuous figure, was Hinata's mother. Hinata Hiyashi's wife, Hinata Yuzuki. Hinata Yuzuki gently stroked her belly, which already had a little life. Hinata-sama, please rest assured, I will definitely protect Hinata-sama's safety. Hinata Shaw, the maid of the branch family, had a serious face and short dark green hair. Her maid outfit was extremely eye-catching. She was usually responsible for taking care of the main family and handling related matters. Today, she would take Hinata to the bustling shopping street to buy some daily necessities. Although Hinata was the eldest daughter of the main family, it was also necessary for her to see the world appropriately. At least she had to know the location of most of the key places in Konoha. Mom, let's go. Hinata waved to her mother, and then left the clan land with the maid carrying an empty bag. The busy commercial street. Early in the morning, many residents and ninjas appeared here. Linliang's merchandise is displayed in various shops. As the most prosperous village in the Land of Fire, Konoha's bustle can be imagined. Festival sale. Don't miss it if you pass by. Behind the counter of a shop, a cute little girl with a bun on her head is trying to promote the weapons of her own shop. Naruto stood in the crowd, his eyes wandering over the many ninja tools. Obviously, the goods in this shop look good. Even ordinary people can't help but want to buy them. It's the ninja tool shop opened by the Tenten family, no wonder so many customers stop by. Naruto thought, and walked forward with the crowded crowd. Nine-tailed. Hey, kid, put down that kunai. Quote, the Nine-Tails was shocked. Watching Naruto steal things with the help of the crowded crowd. The key to the problem is not that the kid, who is a Jinchuriki, used the super high speed and reaction of the tailed beast to obtain one of the weapons. But, the child of the fourth Hokage actually has the bad habit of stealing things. If Minato Namikaze in the belly of the god of death knew about this, he would definitely cry. This is not stealing. How can a ninja's work be called stealing? This is called borrowing. Naruto quickly put the kunai in his arms, then squeezed through the crowded crowd, and finally successfully came out. Forget it, boy, I can see at a glance that you have more bad water in your belly than anyone else. No one in the whole Konoha is worse than you. Quote, Naruto's behavior was so exaggerated that the Nine-Tails couldn't help but get emotional. In the Naruto world, it is said that like fathers give birth to like sons, like mothers give birth to like sons, and like mice give birth to like children. It means, bloodline is supreme. What kind of person you are, what kind of child you have. But the child of the fourth generation Hokage Minato Namikaze and the orphan of the Uzumaki clan, Kushina Uzumaki, has such a bad personality. This is something that people can't believe at all. Although the Nine-Tails has already determined that its host is a demon, when Naruto really doesn't behave like a human, it still feels that its worldview has been subverted. I am Naruto Uzumaki, a man who will become a Hokage in the future. How could I steal things? Don't wrongly accuse me. Naruto, who has borrowed a weapon, has a very righteous expression without blushing or beating his heart. How did you grow up like this? Having watched this kid grow up since he was a child, the Ninetales has no idea how things turned out like this. Perhaps, this kid is the worst guy among all the Chiriki. Snap. Naruto suddenly stopped. Kyuubi was confused. Naruto. The look in their eyes. The street suddenly became empty, which meant that people had discovered the existence of Uzumaki Naruto. The villagers passing by stopped and looked at Naruto with negative eyes, like robots receiving collective instructions. These eyes generally contained fear, disgust, hatred, and other emotions. Obviously, the trauma of the demon fox has continued to this day. Even after many years, the pain caused by the Ninetales rebellion is still showing. Such a prosperous street suddenly became cold because of Naruto's existence. The hawking around seemed to disappear. Even the merchants who were originally shouting hard stopped shouting and glared at Naruto with the same eyes as passers-by. Ninetales. The wind blew and blew a dead leaf. The winter wind was very cold. Naruto stood out from the crowd in his orange short-sleeved sportswear. Ninetales, your eyes are even more annoying. If the eyes of passers-by were the reaction of ordinary people, then Uzumaki Naruto's eyes are cannibalistic. In the eyes of the Ninetales, Uzumaki Naruto is condescending, looking at the common people like ants. This kind of arrogance is even worse than that of the Uchiha clan. The last person who looked at people like this was Uchiha Madara. No, Uchiha Madara at least regards others as ants. Uzumaki Naruto. In his eyes, these guys should all be walking bipedal creatures. Click. Under the gaze of everyone, Naruto took a step. Then he passed by the scene naturally. Pedestrians automatically made way for him. What followed was all kinds of discussions and whispers from behind. Demon Fox. Monster. He's out again. Soon, Naruto came to the mask shop and stopped here. The masks full of faces attracted Naruto's attention. Many of these masks can be cast as ninjas from the Anbu, or villains. Because of Naruto's appearance, the few customers in front of the mask shop disappeared directly. This made the owner of the mask shop very angry. He was a man in his 40s. He supported his family with a meager income. And because he was single for many years, he had a bad temper. When he saw Naruto, he immediately started to expel him. Get out, kid. The shouting of the mask shop owner seemed to turn on a switch, and it was also like an outlet for the public's emotions. Everyone's mouth corners were raised, revealing the dark side of human nature. They were looking forward to the mask shop owner cleaning up this fox kid. I'm just passing by. Naruto turned his head, turned around, and was about to leave. Pa! Something was thrown on the back of Naruto's head. It was a mask. Boss, take this mask with you. After you touch it, no customer will want it. Boss, you are quite nice. Naruto stopped and looked at the mask that fell at his feet. People hate dogs. This is probably Naruto's current reputation in Konoha. It is negative. Naruto-kun, standing in the crowd, watching this scene, it was not just the passers-by who had nothing to do with it. Hinata, who was shopping with the maid Hyuga Natsu, was also among the onlookers. Hinata's heart was almost broken when she saw Naruto suddenly being treated like this. Why do people treat Naruto-kun like this? Hinata was puzzled. But she subconsciously took a step forward and wanted to help Naruto. Hinata-sama. Snap. Hinata's arm was suddenly pulled. She looked back and saw the cold and serious expression on the face of the maid Hyuga Natsu. That cheek that was pretty and gentle in the past, for some reason, turned out to be a little scary at this moment. Don't bother him. Hyuga Natsu's tone was cold and solemn. During the Nine-Tail Rebellion, the Hyuga clan's residence was also damaged. Although the house was only slightly damaged because of being on the edge. But many tribesmen died in the fight against the Nine-Tails. The maid of the branch family who believed that Naruto was a demon fox naturally stood on the side of the villagers. Why? Hinata didn't understand. The children of the new generation didn't know about the demon fox. And most children were just told by their parents not to get close to Uzumaki Naruto. Hinata-sama, you must not touch him. Hyuga Shah hesitated for a moment, but still didn't give a reason. Because the third Hokage had ordered that no one was allowed to mention the demon fox. Over time, it became a gossip behind people's backs. But Hinata turned around and saw Naruto standing there, thinking about whether to pick up the mask. And the owner of the mask shop who kept talking and cursing. Hyuga Shaw. Anyway, hey, that's a bit too much. At this moment, a loud and tender voice broke the atmosphere of the scene. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice. Suddenly, a child with his hands in his trouser pockets stood on the telephone pole opposite the mask shop. Being able to jump so high proves that he is not a child from an ordinary family. With a proud face, Seiko looked down at the scene below with disdain. In broad daylight, you embarrass a child. Is this how you, as an adult, treat guests? Sako's speech immediately triggered the whispers of the crowd again. Quote. And seeing this peer who suddenly appeared and rescued Naruto. Her overly beautiful face made Hinata suddenly feel an inexplicable crisis. Hiss. The subtle sound of blood surging sounded. Blue veins popped up and climbed up to the eye sockets. Hinata, who involuntarily opened the buy-in bloodline limit, quickly realized the characteristics of the other party. It's a girl. The owner of the mask shop, who was already a little angry, saw someone speaking for the demon fox, and couldn't help but become even more angry. It's unlucky to encounter this kind of thing early in the morning. Just when he was about to curse, he suddenly found the fan emblem on Seiko's body. Seeing the emblem, the mask shop owner immediately became a little scared. It's Uchiha. A low voice of discussion sounded in the crowd. The Uchiha clan is a real wealthy clan in Konoha, also known as the elite clan. As one of the founders of Konoha, their reputation is well known. Especially the powerful blood limit, Sharingan, even ordinary people have heard of it. What's more, the mask shop owner immediately felt two unfriendly eyes coming from the crowd. I saw two Uchiha clan police department ninjas looking here with cold faces. The duties of the police department, in addition to catching bad guys, criminals, are always patrolling the streets of Konoha, and they spend a lot of time dealing with vendors. The majesty erected on weekdays made the mask shop owner immediately realize that he had encountered a tough guy. No matter what the reason, these hateful Uchiha meddled in other people's business. But after all, they were people that he couldn't afford to offend. So, the mask shop owner immediately turned around and returned to the shop cursing. This was also a temporary surrender. Quote. Naruto picked up the mask on the ground and looked at the crowd naturally. The people who were swept by the gaze woke up from their dreams. They immediately moved their feet and dispersed, each walking their own way, as if nothing had happened before. Soon, Naruto found Hinata standing there, and the maid next to Hinata. Then, Naruto stared at the pretty maid in the maid outfit. Dark green ear-length hair, slender figure, and white eyes like Hinata. The conservative dark long-sleeved and long trouser home kimono, wrapped in the white maid outfit, had an inexplicable bitterness. Coupled with the disgusted look, a vivid image was gathered. This maid's sister, she looks so pretty. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto. Seiko's voice suddenly appeared beside him, pulling Naruto's attention back. Hinata-sama, let's leave quickly. Hinata Shaw, who didn't want to stay here for a second, immediately pulled Hinata away. Naruto-kun. Hinata was full of disappointment. She kept looking back, and her eyes were full of the scene of the Uchiha girl and Naruto talking and laughing. Uzumaki Naruto, how did you get into this? Seiko, who didn't know the truth, didn't know what happened to Naruto. She jumped down from the electric pole with unusual agility, from which we can see the difference between the children of the Uchiha clan and others. Give it to you. Naruto didn't answer directly, but raised his right hand and handed the mask to Seiko. Humph. Seiko tilted her head proudly, not caring at all. I didn't help you to get your thanks. I just want to repay you for the favor you did last time. Uchiha never owes favors to others. Even if it was Uzumaki Naruto's wishful thinking that helped me out last time, I would still repay it. Oh, friend. Naruto, his eyes narrowed into a line, nodded slowly. What friend? Seiko glanced over. To be my friend, you need to pass many tests to be qualified. Not everyone is qualified to be my companion. Sako's eyes flickered with expectation. Because she remembered what Shisui said in the morning. If she could find a suitable friend, then ninja training would not be a problem. Thinking of Naruto's powerful flying, Seiko felt that this yellow-haired guy was still okay at first glance. Soon, Seiko took Naruto to go shopping. She helped Naruto, and she paid off the favor. Strictly speaking, she still owed him. So it's a waste to use a tool. Seiko, who started to purchase vegetables and fruits, immediately asked Naruto to carry large and small bags. Although Naruto did it obediently, a small problem still occurred during the purchase process. How did you get so hated by people? Seiko sighed. She found that no matter where she went, the villagers avoided Naruto as if he were a plague. Even the puppies on the side of the road. They stayed away from Uzumaki Naruto. He looks silly. People and animals don't think stupidity is contagious, do they? That's amazing. Seiko complained in her heart. She didn't know Naruto was disliked by people because of the legend of the demon fox. As for the animals on the roadside, the dogs and cats, they smelled the chakra on Naruto from afar and immediately walked away. In other words, Naruto, who was harmless in Seiko's eyes, was a living devil in the eyes of Konoha residents and animals. Maybe it's because I'm too upright. Upright people are often excluded by the mob. Naruto shook his head and said something that made Seiko stunned. Because Seiko didn't expect Naruto to say such a philosophical word. Too upright, mob. Although she was still young, the smart Seiko also found that the Uchiha police department was a job that people could easily stay away from. In addition, the Uchiha clan is an elite clan. The word, rebel, really touched Seiko's heart. Okay, Uzumaki Naruto, you passed my preliminary assessment. Seiko crossed her arms and looked at Naruto, who was covered with bags, and initially recognized his qualifications. But to truly become her friend, she still needs to go through many tests. Hey, the nine-tailed fox, lying behind the iron railing, sneered at this. Children playing house. In its view, making friends is all children's play. Uzumaki Naruto, I doubt your motives and purposes. Naruto, don't wrongly accuse me, stinky fox, I really just want to make friends with people of the same age. However, Naruto's seemingly silly answer, the nine-tailed fox didn't believe a single punctuation mark. When she returned to the entrance of the Uchiha clan's residence, Seiko stopped. Okay, give me the stuff. After taking the large and small bags of purchases from Naruto, Seiko carried the heavy items and walked inside. Today's purchases were really easy. So, when will this guy ask my name? While walking and thinking, Seiko thought that Naruto would ask her name for the second time. Should I tell him? However, until Seiko walked a long way, she did not hear Naruto calling her. Hey, Seiko immediately stopped and turned around. What she saw was Naruto's back as he left, scratching his head as he walked. Uzumaki Naruto is really a fool. In the afternoon, sitting under the eaves of her house, Seiko first welcomed her brother who came home. Brother, you are back. Seiko immediately stood up and greeted him, her eyes shining. Itachi, whose bad mood of the day disappeared because he saw his lovely sister, couldn't help but smile. Soon, Makoto's return foreshadowed the preparation of dinner. Mom, I'll help you. Makoto walked into the kitchen and looked at her daughter who came in to help, and couldn't help but touch her head. Seiko began to wash and pick vegetables. On the other side, Makoto couldn't find the matches. Seiko, did you forget to buy matches today? How is that possible? Seiko immediately opened the convenient bag. It contained the kitchen utensils purchased today. Seiko looked around and indeed found no trace of matches. I clearly bought them. The night climbed high into the sky. Another day of nightlife in Konoha has arrived. The prosperity that is no less than that during the day appeared in the shopping street. The cold wind blew, bringing a hint of chill, but it could not stop people's enthusiasm for shopping and playing. Naruto sat on the slope of the roof of a shop, looking at the street scene below with an indifferent expression. Everywhere he looked, there were people. And soon, Naruto's eyes locked on a familiar shop. It was the mask shop. Snap. The thing tightly held in his left hand was the matches, borrowed from Seiko during the day. The spiritual world. The dark sewer became deeper and even twisted. The rust even climbed up the sealed door, turning the brand new iron door into an ancient decayed creation. The nine-tailed fox, who noticed the changes in Naruto's heart, probably guessed what Naruto was going to do. Nine-tailed fox, little brat, you. At the same time, at the Uchiha clan's residence, the Seiko family finished today's dinner. Itachi found that his sister seemed very excited today, and the smile on the corner of her mouth was even more obvious. Did something interesting happen? So, Itachi got up and called his sister to chat aside. And Sako's special changes today naturally did not escape the eyes of her parents. Did Seiko encounter something? Makoto looked at the backs of the brother and sister as they left. Under the light of the living room, Uchiha Fugaku sat cross-legged and crossed his arms, this child. He had heard about what happened during the day from his subordinates. In the bustling, commercial street, Zuozi stood up for the young man with a sensitive identity. This scene was witnessed by many villagers and ninjas. It's Uzumaki Naruto. When this name came out of her husband's mouth, Makoto was slightly startled. Last time, she vaguely felt that the yellow-haired pure Seiko mentioned might be that child. Now it seems that I am afraid, that is indeed the case. Kushina's child. For Makoto, the boy Uzumaki Naruto was the orphan left by his best friend and best friend. But for her husband Fugaku, and even the entire Uchiha clan, Uzumaki Naruto's identity is the extremely sensitive, nine-tailed Jinchuriki. The Uchiha clan was in trouble due to the Kyuubi rebellion. At that time, the order issued by the top management of Konoha to station the Uchiha clan in place and prohibit approaching the Kyuubi became a thorn in the side of the Uchiha clan. I didn't trust this kind of thing originally, I just lurked in the darkness. On the night of the Kyuubi rebellion, this matter was put on the table. Coupled with the spread of rumors that it was Uchiha who brought the Kyuubi, the relationship between the Uchiha clan and the village has become very delicate. So, normally, Uchiha Fugaku repeatedly told his clan members not to approach Uzumaki Naruto. The clan members pretty much did the same thing, basically treating Naruto like air. But now, his daughter has taken the lead in contacting the Kyuubi. This kind of thing. Fugaku, do you want me to go talk to Seiko? Makoto looked at her husband and said softly. Although Uzumaki Naruto is the child of his best friend, considering the political situation of the Uchiha clan, he may still have to take the initiative to keep Seiko away from Naruto. No, Uchiha Fugaku stretched out his hand, indicating that there was no need to stop him. He looked towards the courtyard. The sky outside the courtyard has turned completely dark. You want to? Makoto understood instantly. Recently, the relationship between the Uchiha clan and the higher-ups, and even the village, has become increasingly tense. The dissatisfaction of the tribesmen is also getting higher and higher. Among them, the radicals gradually gained the upper hand. In the future, it is very likely that the Uchiha clan will revolt because of this. If Seiko comes into contact with the nine-tailed Jinchuriki in advance, it can be considered an opportunity. The Uchiha clan may one day take advantage of the Kyuubi. Quote. The husband sings and the wife follows Makoto, who immediately falls silent. She is completely devoted to her husband, and her obedience to her husband is no less than Hinata's attitude towards Naruto. After slowly sitting down on her knees, Makoto nodded. But, will the top management just sit back and ignore this? Backyard. The brother and sister practiced throwing ninja tools. The whistling sound of kunai sounded, and with the dull sound of kunai, all Itachi's throws hit the red heart. Zuozi, who was slightly tilted, pouted. Sure enough, there was still a big gap between her and her brother. Did you make friends? Itachi looked at his lovely sister and asked this topic naturally. They are not friends. Although they have passed my preliminary assessment, there are still more checks to come. Only those who pass them all are qualified to be my friends. Seiko shouted back to her brother. Seeing his sister's expression of disgust on the surface, but actually unable to hold back the smile on her lips, Itachi became curious about the friend his sister spoke of. Who could it be? Boy or girl? It's best to be a girl. Sister control. Itachi subconsciously thought of this. Time passes slowly. In the blink of an eye, most stores are about to close. As the most popular ramen shop in Konoha, Ichiraku Ramen is usually open late. Because this is so that those ninjas who return from their missions can eat hot food. Today, Shoda welcomed a regular customer. It's Naruto. Seeing Naruto isolated in the cold wind, Tita couldn't help but smile. I don't know which day started, but Tate became interested in Naruto wandering in front of the store. Naruto usually came over very, very late to have a bowl of ramen. This was because the other guests did not welcome Naruto's presence. So Naruto always comes at this time. Although Hans fought against all opinions and firmly hoped that Naruto's normal time would come, Naruto at this time still maintained his past habits. Glancing at the clock, it's very late. On the streets outside, even the sound of dogs barking became very rare. Tate immediately called Naruto in and started cooking noodles. Naruto, aren't you cold? The hand-beating daughter, the waitress Iris, looked at Naruto who was still wearing short-sleeved shirts in the cold winter and couldn't help but ask. Naruto shook his head and looked inside the bar, waiting for a bowl of hot ramen. Not long after, the ramen was served. The father and daughter stood behind the counter, smiling as they watched Naruto finish a large bowl of ramen. In the end, even the soup was drank in one gulp. Boss, thank you for the hospitality. Naruto paid and jumped from his seat. Go slowly when it's dark. He reached out and told Naruto to go home early, but to watch the road carefully. As Naruto stepped into the darkness, the haze of night surged in. On the entire street, only the lights of a few shops such as Ichiraku Ramen were still shining. The moon is dark and the wind is high. Naruto looked up and glanced at the clouds in the sky that were suddenly accelerating. The wind is coming. Wiping his mouth, Naruto's naive expression gradually disappeared and became calm. Only when you eat can you have the strength to work, right? Kyuubi. Boy, what on earth are you? Kyuubi was very puzzled when he saw Naruto standing guard for a long time and then running over to eat ramen. All it knows is that the sewer where it is imprisoned is becoming darker and more decayed. Woof woof. When the last dog barking stopped, the sound of the rolling door also sounded. It also signals the end of the day. The entire commercial street was almost dark, with only the dim yellow streetlights far away from each other barely reflecting the shadows of the buildings. As a single person, the mask shop owner usually works late and late. After all, there's not much to do after closing early. When he lowered the rolling shutter door and was about to lock it, footsteps suddenly came from behind him. He turned his head and saw a familiar figure. Stop. He was already in a bad mood today, but after discovering the demon fox boy, his mood became even worse. Hey, I'm talking about you, boy, stop for me. Naruto turned around and looked at the crouching mask shop owner. Mr. Owner of the mask shop, why did you stop me? Naruto didn't know the other person's name, so he called him by his honorific title. How polite of me, Naruto thought. However, the other party was not very polite. Especially when I saw Naruto wearing a mask operated by his own shop on top of his head, it made him feel even worse. Naruto, who was wearing a mask on his head, his eyes narrowed into a straight line, was still wearing the orange short-sleeved sportswear. The trousers are grass-green trousers, which look like cheap goods at first glance. This outfit is very eye-catching in this cold winter, so earthy and eye-catching. The mask shop owner immediately showed a ferocious look on his face, staring at Naruto with his eyes almost spitting out fire. Naruto tilted his head slightly and looked behind him, which was the rolling shutter door of the store. Mr. Boss, do you still have masks in your store for me? I have a few friends. This sentence directly made the other party furious. You brat, don't think that the Uchiha clan will support you. Those pink eyes just happened to be passing by and were nosy. I have an Uchiha friend. Naruto said that he had a friend from the Uchiha clan. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. After all, it's getting late. I wish you a good night. After Naruto finished speaking, he turned around and stepped forward with a very arrogant walking posture. Ha, ha, the mask shop owner, whose chest was beating and his eyes were red with anger, couldn't bear it any longer. He was so angry that he even forgot about the prohibition of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Demon fox, monster. He began to say words that none of the villagers dared to say in front of Naruto. However, Naruto remained silent, as if he didn't hear it at all, or maybe he didn't take his seat inward. Naruto, who left his boss with a back, even raised his right hand and scratched the back of his head. Stop. He stepped forward and reached out to grab Naruto. However, Naruto's speed suddenly increased, causing him to miss. The furious mask shop owner didn't realize how ninja-like Naruto's avoidance reaction just now was. And until this moment, Naruto seemed to not want to pay attention to him. Don't even want to cause trouble. Quote. Also silent was Kyuubi. Looking at the increasingly dark and twisted sealed space, Kyuubi knew that some kind of ending was coming. The detonation of everything is just the straw that breaks the camel's back. However, Uzumaki Naruto is not a camel, the other party is. The ancients said, "You are seeking death." Quote. Stop, you monster. I told you not to listen to me. The mask shop owner didn't finish his sentence. Because a snake-like snake suddenly bit his face. Such a fast speed, let alone an ordinary person like him. Even a genin, or even a chunin, might be completely unable to react. Laugh. The poisonous snake instantly pierced his head. It goes in from the forehead and comes out from the back of the head. Under the dim light, Naruto's shadow sprouted demonic horns. The shadow that suddenly distorted and swelled looked like a demon. In particular, a venomous snake tail grew from the shadow's back. It was this tail that pierced the boss's head. Quote. The man whose brain was instantly fatally injured began to twitch wildly and involuntarily. Not only was he unable to make a sound, but his eyes began to roll around. Plop. The next second, the wounded man fell to the ground and in a matter of seconds became dead. Quote. Naruto's shadow turned around and looked at the fallen man expressionlessly. The deceased had a kunai stuck in his forehead. The kunai pierced his skull and came full circle. The ferocious demon figure squirmed, and its body returned to its original size. The devil horns disappeared, and the tail also disappeared. After rubbing it in his pocket, Naruto took out the match and looked at the shop, which was mostly made of wood. Soon, a raging fire burned everything. Someone will definitely discover the fire later. However, the Uchiha police department officers on the night shift arrived. Everything was burned to ashes. The so-called death has no proof. Quote. Kyuubi watched all this in silence. It was the first time to kill someone so fierce and ruthless, a combination of strategy and strength, that even it didn't know what to say. Although this man brought his own fault, Uzumaki Naruto's temptation. Kyuubi didn't know that this move was called fishing. Soon, Naruto turned around and slowly left the fire scene. Soon after, the fire broke out and woke up other people who were sleeping. While putting out the fire, the residents immediately contacted the Uchiha police department at night. The fire in the middle of the night woke up many people. Uchiha Fugaku, who had just fallen asleep, was woken up by his subordinates. He had to go to the high street. In previous years, although fires occasionally broke out at night in winter, the circumstances of this case were obviously different. It's not that the residents used fire improperly, but it's most likely a deliberate arson. Dad, Seiko, who was sleeping drowsily next door, was awakened by the movement made by his father. However, Seiko was catching up with the growth of the child, so she fell asleep again soon. Itachi in the other room quickly stood up and went outside the courtyard to investigate the situation. The clansmen who came in a hurry had solemn expressions on their faces. The father said something to them, and then hurried outside. Itachi thought for a while. This situation hadn't happened in his memory for many years. So, he quickly put on his coat and left the house with his father. Weasel. Seeing Itachi following her husband, Makoto stood at the door and blinked. Itachi is still a genin. Normally, only by becoming a chunin can one join the police force. Therefore, Itachi is currently not qualified to act with everyone. Mom, just treat it as advanced training. Itachi made a random excuse. The truth is that he cares deeply about the relationship between his clan and the village. He became more and more aware, and even became a little sensitive, and began to pay attention to various things. In any case, I hope that the Uchiha clan will not go to extremes. By the way, call Shisui together. More than 10 minutes later, the people who rushed all the way arrived at the crime scene. The clan members on night shift stood with his father, and Itachi immediately looked at his best friend beside him. The situation looks serious. Shisui stared at the shop that was being extinguished. The raging fire was burning. The ninjas who helped around tried their best to put out the fire with water escape ninjutsu and nearby water sources. Itachi stood aside, and without the identity of a law enforcer in the police department, he could only watch temporarily. And Shisui did not join the police department because of the strong demands of other ninjas in the village and the will of the people. So, it can also be said that Shisui is the only Uchiha ninja who did not join the police department after being promoted to Chunin, after the sacrifice of Uchiha Obito. Shisui, who has a good relationship with people, can become a bridge between the clan and the village, and alleviate the negative reputation of the Uchiha clan in the eyes of others. Over the years, Shisui has worked hard to get along well with other companions in the village, and has achieved excellent results. Itachi called Shisui along the way for this reason. As good friends, the two are very concerned about the position and situation of the clan in the village. And agreed to get the reputation of the Uchiha clan back on track. Please don't get close. The fire is very dangerous. Shisui saw that some onlookers wanted to come forward, so he immediately stopped them. Most of the crowded crowd were watching the excitement. After all, this is human nature. The residents who were dispersed could only disperse backwards. Quote. And among all the onlookers, there was naturally Naruto. Naruto looked at this scene with a blank expression. Nine-tailed, you ask me what I see. Of course, I watch it with a mask on. Naruto, who killed people and stabbed their hearts, wore a mask on his cheek that he got from the owner of the mask shop during the day. The blazing fire illuminated the white mask, dyeing it a layer of dazzling orange-red. Hehe, Uzumaki Naruto, you are indeed a devil. The Nine-Tails' words at this moment were quite unfair. Logically speaking, as a tailed beast that once wreaked havoc in Konoha and hated this village, it should only gloat over what happened tonight. However, the position of the nine-tailed fox at this time is to judge the difference between Naruto and other people's qualities. The nine-tailed fox must admit that it has lived for 1,000 years and has never seen a human with such a bad character. The deep darkness in Uzumaki Naruto's heart makes it feel very different from ordinary people. Quote. Regarding the nine-tailed fox's questioning this time, Naruto had no thoughts or ideas to speak. He just watched the police department gradually put out the fire. Please leave here immediately. As a member of Konoha and a ninja who masters violence, Itachi naturally joined the collaborative work. When he saw that other people began to retreat, only this child was still standing there with his eyes fixed, he couldn't help but remind him. Quote. Naruto glanced at Itachi and immediately recognized Itachi's identity through his recognizable hairstyle and nasolabial folds. Seiko's brother. He is also one of the murderers who caused the demise of the Uchiha clan in the original work. Naruto retreated into the crowd silently. After a while, the fire was finally completely extinguished. Fortunately, the shop next door was less damaged, and it could be used again as long as the walls in contact were slightly repaired. However, the first floor of the mask shop, which was also the main business location of the shop, was burned to ashes. Correspondingly, the second floor collapsed and burned down. Soon, the ninjas of the Anbu arrived late. All the members of the Anbu 6th team, led by Kakashi, arrived. Konoha is one of the most prosperous cities in the Land of Fire, second only to Kyoto, where the daimyo is located. At the same time, as a violent organization officially cooperating with the Land of Fire, it naturally has sufficiently perfect laws. Every place has its own rules, and Konoha is no exception. Killing is not a rare thing for ninjas, they are on the verge of life and death every day. But killing in Konoha is completely different. Especially, the deceased died in the most prosperous commercial street, which is undoubtedly a slap in the face of the Konoha high level. The body of the deceased was found. After identity confirmation, it was the owner of the mask shop. However, conflicts soon arose between the Uchiha police department and the Anbu. The duties of the police department overlapped with some of the duties of the Anbu to some extent, which led to frequent conflicts between the two sides. The Nine Tails Rebellion incident of that year raised the opposition between the two sides to a higher level. Whether it was the rumor that Uchiha attracted the Nine Tails, or that some people in the Anbu lost their relatives and friends because of the Nine Tails. This made the situation of the Uchiha in Konoha more and more delicate. The Uchiha who was supposed to protect the village allowed arson and murder to happen. Hey, you who are not good at doing things, are you going to pull your legs again? Kakashi's subordinates began to be sarcastic. This is a headache for even Kakashi. He can restrain some of his subordinates' behaviors, but he can't reverse public opinion. Especially, this subordinate named Zhang lost his sister because of the Nine Tails Rebellion. In this situation, other Anbu subordinates also had similar painful experiences, so. What did you say? The Uchiha 8th generation, a middle-aged white-haired, 3-generation veteran, and the same age and qualifications as the three ninjas. He is also the right-hand man of Uchiha Fugaku, and also the radical representative of the Uchiha clan. He has a pair of squinty eyes and thin cheeks. At this moment, the 8th generation was very angry and wanted to argue with the young man of the Anbu. Oh, it's the squinty eyes of one of the three Uchiha extras defeated by Itachi in the original work. Naruto, who also had squinty eyes, shook his head and watched the conflict happen. Zhang, you should say less. Kakashi, with silver hair, immediately shouted to stop his subordinates. On the Uchiha side, Uchiha Shisui, who was responsible for being a good guy, also came to Uchiha 8th generation to persuade him to fight. The superficial anger of both sides began to subside. Itachi also saw the conflict between his compatriots and the village. However, it was completely different from Naruto, who was just watching the show for fun. Itachi felt that the compatriots of the Uchiha clan should reflect on themselves. The collaborative work started soon. With Uchiha Fugaku, the head of the police force, and Kakashi, the leader of the 6th team of the Anbu, personally taking action, it was naturally a piece of cake to investigate this case. Uchiha Fugaku. The head was pierced by a kunai. It entered the forehead and came out from the back of the head. It killed him in one blow, and the force was extremely strong. Hitaki Kakashi. Ordinary people can never do this. No, even most genin and chunin can't do this kind of lethality. The police department and the Anbu are both professional in handling corpses. After a while, the two finished their conclusions. Location of the incident: mask shop. The deceased, the owner of the mask shop. Cause of death: pierced through the head by a kunai and set on fire at the same time. Therefore, it is judged that the murderer is a ninja, and his strength is at least chunin, or even stronger. Obviously, the murderer did not want to completely destroy the body, but was a blatant provocation to Konoha's violent organization. The Ninja World War has ended for several years, and all countries have been recuperating in these years. Could it be that spies from other countries have infiltrated? Speculation is speculation, and the specific investigation needs to continue. The Anbu and the police department will write reports to the upper level and wait for the upper level's reply. There will be a result within an hour at the latest. Itachi. Shisui. Looking at Shisui with a puzzled look, the latter just smiled bitterly, as if to say, Itachi, now you understand the conflict between Uchiha and the village better. In the crowd on the side. After reading the investigation, Naruto turned around and left. The two groups analyzed it for a while, but they didn't suspect themselves. There is no way, no one would have thought that a child would do such a thing. This is the inherent blind spot of their ninja thinking. It is a dimensionality reduction attack made by themselves on them. The initial blood has been completed, and the effect of the drill is very good. Naruto thought, next time, I can face real ninjas. The next morning, the sun rose as usual. After the meeting late last night, the Konoha high level strengthened the activities of the Anbu at night. The Uchiha clan was arranged to search for suspicious people from the daytime. There is no doubt that this strict investigation and crackdown will inevitably cause chaos and complaints in people's lives. This will exacerbate the bad impression of Uchiha law enforcers in people's minds. Konoha's high-level officials borrowed a knife to kill people and mobilize the masses to fight against the masses. In the end, it will only deepen the public's resentment against the Uchiha clan, and the latter will be more excluded by the people. For Naruto, Konoha's vigilant crackdown atmosphere indicates that disasters will occur less frequently. So will it affect the kidnapping of Hinata. This is also an attempt. After all, if you go against the ninja leader of the Hidden Cloud Village, it is still quite dangerous. Because the ninja leader of the Hidden Cloud Village is equivalent to the leader of the senior ninja class of Konoha. That is the position of Shikamaru's father Nara Shikaku. The difference is, Konoha has only one senior ninja class leader, but the Hidden Cloud Village has many ninja leaders. Their strength, each one is at least, senior ninja. If the power of the village can be used to prevent the kidnapping of Hinata, Naruto is still quite happy. At the same time, Naruto also knows that eggs cannot be put in one basket. It is not advisable to rely on luck. In order to prevent accidents, you need to continue to improve your strength. The problem is, after using the tailed beast coat mode last night, it swelled up again. So, who should I trouble to solve it next? The Hyuga clan's residence. The morning sun shone into the dojo, and Hinata and her father Hyuga Hiyashi began a new morning exercise. As the heir of the main family, the mastery of the soft fist is the top priority. If you don't have the corresponding strength, even if you have the seal of the bird in the cage, you can't clamp down on those branch families. So, strict teaching of the eldest daughter is what Hiyashi has to do every day. Snap, snap. The generation of azure chakra cyclones, releasing chakra from the fingers, palms, and even the acupuncture points of the whole body for attack and defense, is one of the mysteries of the soft fist. There is a flaw. Hyuga Hiyashi, with a very serious face, not only does he not smile, but also has the majesty of a superior. This made most of the Hyuga clan members very afraid of him as the clan leader. Seeing his daughter distracted, Hiyashi slapped her face mercilessly. Pa! With the clear sound of slapping, Hinata, who looked painful, was slapped to the ground. Give you 10 minutes to adjust your mood immediately. Hiyashi stared down at his daughter who fell to the ground, with only harsh words, no love. Yes, father. Hinata immediately got up and respectfully left the training room. Hinata-sama, why are you distracted? Under the eaves of the dojo. The maid of the branch family, Hyuga Natsu, who was applying medicine on Hinata's cheek, expressed her doubts. Hinata, who was asked this question, couldn't help but feel even more depressed. Axia, why do people treat Naruto-kun like that? Hinata's eyes flashed with yesterday's memory. Faced with this question, Hyuga Natsu's right hand holding the cotton swab stopped moving. After a while, she put away the medicinal wine. In short, Hinata-sama, please don't contact that kid named Uzumaki Naruto. A few minutes later, after resting, Hinata entered the dojo again to practice. Hyuga Natsu took out the purchase order and set off to the commercial street according to today's schedule. Early in the morning, she noticed the fire scene surrounded by a crowd. As a member of a wealthy family like the Hyuga clan, especially a personal maid of the main family, she learned about the arson and murder case late last night. But when she saw the scene burned to ashes, she was still a little surprised. The scene has been completely blocked. Only a piece of ruins burned by the flames foreshadowed the changes here. After standing there for a while, Hyuga Shah noticed the prying eyes from the side. It's that demon fox boy. I saw Naruto standing across the street, a distance away from the mask shop. The surrounding villagers avoided Naruto as if he were avoiding the plague. Unlike the disgusted attitude of yesterday's onlookers, today's faces of the villagers were filled with fear of Naruto. No one whispered anymore, and dared to say bad things about Naruto. The maid of the Hyuga family suddenly understood. The villagers may think that the destruction of the mask shop is inextricably linked to the demon fox boy Uzumaki Naruto. Whether it was a curse, a disaster, or other superstitious statements. Or there were other explanations. In short, they must have regarded this kid as a disaster. Naruto, who was standing across the street, scratched his head. This action scared the surrounding villagers away quickly. The large open space that was already vacant became even emptier, and only Naruto was enjoying the entire wide road. However, as far as she knew, the truth was that no one at the top suspected Uzumaki Naruto. The ninjas of the Uchiha police department did not. The Anbu did not. The Konoha high-level officials did not either. This puzzled Hyuga Natsu, who did not know the whole picture. Uzumaki Naruto is obviously a demon fox, why do the people above think he is not the murderer? Although because of the information gap, Hyuga Natsu did not know that Naruto was the descendant of the fourth Hokage. But she hit the mark by accident and saw through the essence of the matter. The murderer is indeed Naruto. Hinata Shah turned and left. Before she left, she saw Naruto's eyes staring at her. Those blue eyes did not make the maid of the branch family think of beauty or purity. She just felt that the eyes of this brat were very disgusting. Naruto, who was standing in place, followed Hinata Shah's gaze. When the pretty maid of the Hyuga family left, Naruto followed her. Soon, Hinata Shah, who was shopping for daily necessities, felt something was wrong. She was in the same class as the famous Hatake Kakashi, so naturally they were only 1 year apart in age. In this era, it was totally okay to call her a girl. Naruto followed slowly, always keeping a distance from her. Wherever the pretty maid with white eyes went, Naruto followed. This behavior, like a ghost behind her back and like a traitor, finally made the other party angry. Just when Hinata Shah was about to speak, Naruto suddenly looked to the side. Then, Naruto took a step and left quickly. Inexplicable. The maid of the branch family frowned and her pretty face became even colder. Her originally low good impression of Naruto instantly turned into a lower negative value. But she didn't know that because of someone's sudden interruption, she temporarily escaped. Sister of the Anbu, we meet again. In the dark alley, Naruto saw the Anbu girl who greeted him. Azuki Yugao. Why did Azuki Yugao suddenly appear at this moment? Uzumaki Naruto. Wearing the Anbu uniform and a brand new cat-patterned mask, Yugao tried to make her voice colder. But as an insider, she knew that the child in front of her was the son of the 4th Hokage and his wife, and she truly exposed her true attitude towards Naruto. That was the care and concern for the son of a hero. You know what happened in the mask shop. Good news doesn't go out, but bad news spreads 1,000 miles. In just one morning, the whole Konoha probably knew about what happened here. After all, Konoha had been peaceful for several years, and suddenly something like this happened, and the consequences can be imagined. Early in the morning, Shien received a special assignment from the 3rd Hokage. Ask her to take more care of Naruto. In other words, Hokage-sama is worried that the murder of the mask shop owner may be a way for the enemy to invade the east. In order to guard against the possibility of the Jinchuriki being targeted by the enemy, Shien will pay more attention to Naruto's whereabouts these days. Yeah, Naruto nodded. Then, go home quickly, don't run around. The safest thing is, of course, to stay at home and not go out. Shien advised Naruto not to run out. But, it's boring at home. Naruto scratched his head. It's no fun to be alone at home. Emphasizing this matter a second time, Naruto looked into the distance. The Hyuga family's maid has gone away, so you have to shoulder the responsibility of helping me reduce the swelling. Shien, who didn't know she was being targeted, hesitated for a moment and then agreed to play with Naruto. What play? Is practice. Naruto said that he wanted to practice. Besides, my dream is to become Hokage. I want everyone to recognize me. Seeing Naruto's bold speech, Shien couldn't help but smile at the corner of his mouth under the mask. The son of the 4th generation Hokage, of course, has a high chance of becoming Hokage. Maoyu Shien believes in bloodline theory. After all, her childhood sweetheart, Moonlight Hayate, was the owner of the bloodline. So, Shien quickly followed Naruto back to his home. It's still warm in the house. Shien, who exposed her fair shoulders, couldn't help but touch her arm. When performing tasks in the cold winter, you do have to suffer from the wind and cold. Naruto closed the door, came to the living room, and turned on the TV. Nutritious TV programs are being played on the TV. Seeing Naruto holding the remote control being attracted to the TV program, Shien couldn't help but smile. Sure enough, he is still a child. Immediately, she looked at the refrigerator aside, ready to solve the doubts that had been in her heart these days. I quietly opened the refrigerator, and what I saw was a bucket full of milk. Sure enough, it's milk. Shien's breath hitched slightly. The Anbu ninja's excellent insight allowed her to immediately notice something strange about the milk. Reaching out and taking out the innermost bottle, Shien was stunned. Expired. In other words, it is most likely that Naruto felt uncomfortable, hot and dry, because he drank expired milk last time. Without thinking much, Shien immediately closed the refrigerator and pretended that nothing happened. However, her standing silhouette, that sideways figure that contained a youthful atmosphere, was completely taken into Naruto's eyes. Looking at Shien's complete Anbu uniform, Her shoulders and upper arms were exposed like mud and fat jade. The monster inside Naruto soon began to move around. The personal life of a child is not easy after all. Let's replace the expired milk for him tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Shien silently thought to herself that the son of a hero should be taken care of by someone. Later, Shien remembered another main purpose of coming here today. By the way, Naruto, can you control the power of the Nine Tails well? This question is a taboo question. Shien's heartbeat couldn't help but speed up. She was still young during the Kyuubi rebellion, but the destructive power displayed by the Kyuubi still left a huge impression on her. Just from the ruins of Konoha at that time, we can see how terrifying the tailed beasts were. In addition, this question was not asked by Lord Hokage, but came from her personal question. Kyuubi, what is it? Naruto tilted his head to show that he didn't know the word. Hiss. Shien took a breath and then remembered that Naruto might not even know the professional concept of tailed beast. It should be said that most people in Konoha, including grassroots ninjas, do not know the specific information about this creature. It's me, Uncle. Lying behind the sealed iron door, Kyuubi closed its eyes and spoke its true identity in a low but majestic voice. Oh, so your name is the Stinky Fox Nine Tails. Naruto nodded, indicating that he understood. Just call Kyuubi, kid. Kyuubi immediately opened his eyes, quite furious and arrogant. When it comes to the Nine Tails, whoever lives in the ninja world doesn't tremble. Why is it that you are no longer intimidating? Kyuubi's scattered thoughts were obviously saying, I have been wandering for half my life, and I only regret that I have never met my master. How could such a personal Chiriki be exposed? Shien saw Naruto talking to himself. She immediately realized that Naruto was talking to Kyuubi. It's called Kyuubi. I can control this chakra just fine. By the way, Anbu's sister, I don't know your name yet. Seeing Naruto with a pure expression on his face, Kyuubi knew that this evil boy was thinking of some evil plan. Of course, this also indicates that the female human in front of her will be unlucky again. My name is Uoyuki Shien. After hesitating for a moment, Shien still told Naruto his name. This is a secret. Anbu ninjas are generally not allowed to reveal their joy to others. You have to keep it a secret for me. Okay, no problem. Sister Shien. Naruto, who pretended to be excited, looked particularly happy, as if he had an extra friend. Then, Sister Shien, let me tell you a secret. In fact, I am very strong, even stronger than you. Naruto, who was fishing again, began to take the initiative to lure Shien to the bait. Shien, who has always been brooding over the fact that she was killed instantly by a child, would naturally not agree with it. Naruto, for example, now, Sister Shien, I can still defeat you with one move. Quote. Shien does not have a character that refuses to admit defeat. But faced with the arrogance of a child, she was naturally aroused to refute. Under the mask, Shien's face began to turn red, and she couldn't bear to look back on the past. Being defeated by a kid or something. Lord Hokage told her to take good care of Naruto. If Naruto was that strong, what else would he do? I'm going to use the power of the Nine Tails on Sister Shien. Naruto, who pretended to be harmless, followed these childish words. The wind rises, the clouds surge. Boom. The originally calm room suddenly stirred up a violent storm of Nine Tails chakra. Orange waves visible to the naked eye instantly surged up to the ceiling, forming a roaring nine-tailed chakra head on top. Who? The roaring Nine Tails head, the sound that turned into reality, triggered a shock wave and struck Shien fiercely. Woo. Shien, who was calm and even a little eager to try in the last second, the expression under the mask turned into shock in the next second. She was hit by the storm, and the long purple hair on her back suddenly flew back. The whole person was almost unable to move due to the blowing storm. Just holding himself in place took nearly all of his strength. How could chakra actually be able to materialize? She didn't have time to react as she raised her arms to shield herself from the strong wind. Naruto, whose body changed even more and was covered in a layer of orange transparent tailed beast clothing, pounced over. Bang! What Shien saw before she fell into coma was a pair of vertical pupils shining as red as needlepoints, and a certain part of her clothing that was bulging abnormally high. Plop. Boy, you're too harsh. Let's see how you end up this time. Seeing Shien falling to the ground and being knocked unconscious instantly, the first one to shout was Kyuubi. It looked towards Shien's beaten forehead, where Naruto had given him a hard punch. It's not an ordinary straight punch, but a fist covered with a tailed beast clothes. In this case, in addition to a huge increase in the Jinchuriki's offense and defense, there will also be a poison attack. The tailed beast's chakra has corrosive power. That is to say, not everyone is qualified to be the container of the tailed beast. This is almost a consensus in the ninja world. A special physique can better use the power of the tailed beast, which can also be said to be the foundation of the Jinchuriki platform. When the Jinchuriki covers the tailed beast clothes and attacks the opponent, the hatred contained in the tailed beast chakra is equivalent to directly interfering with the outside world, and is transmitted to the human body through contact attacks. Touching it will cause negative states such as paralysis, difficulty in healing, continuous damage, etc. So on the surface, Naruto just punched Azuki Yugao casually. In fact, the enchanted damage caused will have serious subsequent effects on Azuki Yugao. This kind of toxin will only become pure and not contain highly toxicity after the Jinchuriki becomes a perfect Jinchuriki and completely unties the knot of the tailed beast. You're done, kid. Different from the gloating of the Nine Tails. As a fire scientist, Naruto understands the Nine Tails chakra to some extent better than the Nine Tails. The tailed beast chakra is certainly poisonous. But ninjas are also very tough. This punch hit the forehead. Azuki Yugao's brain may have been paralyzed in an instant. Same. Hands are numb when hitting, feet are numb when kicking. Even a medical ninja as powerful as Sakura in the original work cannot immediately heal the injuries eroded by the Nine Tails chakra. Naruto roughly judged. Azuki Yugao might be unconscious for at least 2 days. This is indeed a trouble. But it's not a big problem. Snap. He casually lifted the Anbu mask. Azuki Yugao's delicate white face like a porcelain doll suddenly appeared in Naruto's eyes. Her frowning brows did not damage her face, but made her more pitiful. Her long purple hair fell on the floor, under her body. The temptation brought by the Anbu uniform added a different charm to her. Looking at the Anbu girl who had fainted, Naruto's breathing began to become heavy. Sister Shien is unconscious, it's all my fault, I was too heavy. So I have to let her rest well next. Then, start feeding her milk to ensure nutritional intake. Take good care of her until she wakes up. Nine-tailed fox. Naruto walked to Shien and held her right wrist with one hand. And this time, Naruto did not go to the basement. Because the basement is where the enemy is interrogated. Now Sister Shien has become his friend. So, Naruto directly dragged Maoyu Shien into his bedroom. Throwing her casually, the huge power brought by the nine-tailed fox's chakra easily threw Shien away. The unconscious Anbu girl was immediately thrown onto the big bed. The white sheets reflected the seductive posture of the human form. As Naruto drew the curtains, the room was immediately occupied by shadows. The sound of rustling soon sounded. The shadow expanded and grew rapidly. When the ferocious shadow came out, its dark and blurry shadow also began to move, and when it gradually approached, sizzle, the shadows merged and began to intertwine with each other. Naruto. Oh, Azuki Yugao. Same moment. To the north of the Fire Nation, the distant border. Winter has arrived, and Konoha's reconnaissance team couldn't help but start rubbing their hands and exhaling turbid air like white mist. We set out a day ago and made an urgent march without sleep to get here. It took a lot of effort, just because the former rival, Cloud Hidden Village, suddenly extended an olive branch of friendship to Konoha. They claimed that they would sign an alliance covenant with Konoha. This news attracted great attention from the top management of Konoha. It is also associated with the case of, the mask shop was set on fire and the corpses were burned. The top brass realized, the murders are likely to be the reaction of other countries. It is very possible that it was a false shot by Kumogakure, or that other countries got wind of the situation and wanted to destroy the possible alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure. But no matter what, since Kumogakure has a tendency to negotiate peace, Konoha will also do so with the greatest sincerity. So, a special operations team set out from Konoha. The person in charge of this operation is the rising star of the reconnaissance squad, Moonlight Hayate. He possesses the boundary of penetration and blood succession, and has performed well in many missions. This unique blood inheritance limit also allows him to always achieve great achievements. The so-called debut is the peak. Such a sharp and powerful stealth ability also brings hidden dangers to Moonlight Gale. Commonly known as blood-stained disease. When this ability reaches its peak, it is also the moment when his physical condition gradually declines. This is like the white-haired blood-stained disease in the legend of the Kagaya clan. Too strong and easy to break. His life will be as brilliant as a shooting star, but the ending will also be fleeting and dim. This is also the reason why he usually cultivates his body and mind and is taken care of by his childhood sweetheart Maoyu Shien. Standing on the border, Moonlight Hayate looked serious. The other side of the land beneath your feet, behind the boundary marker, is the border of another country. After a tense conversation with Kumogakure's ninja team, the other party handed over an autograph signed by the fourth Raikage. Kumogakure's diplomatic team will set off for Konoha soon. This meeting is to confirm the attitudes of both parties towards each other and is regarded as a preliminary meeting warm-up. Finally, Moonlight Gale stretched out his hand, suppressed his excitement, and held the opponent's hand together. At this point, both parties breathed a sigh of relief and the atmosphere began to become harmonious. Because, Moonlight Gale, peace is right in front of you. As the most powerful ninja village in the ninja world, Kumogakure's advanced level of science, technology and ninja studies cannot be doubted. If we had them as allies, Konoha would be able to maintain peace for decades. Wait until Kumogakure's team leaves. The Konoha team can finally find a place to take a good rest. After getting some sleep, you can return to the village. Everyone, please rest first. I will take this manuscript back immediately. Moonlight Hayate didn't want to waste a minute, he just wanted to spread the good news back to the village. Hayate, don't you miss your girlfriend? Can't you bear it after only 2 days apart? Young people nowadays. Seeing the friendly jokes from around him and being wrapped up in the friendship of his companions, Hayate felt warm in his heart. He smiled slightly, said goodbye to his companions and set off immediately. Running in the cold wind, he couldn't help but think. What is my childhood sweetheart Shien doing now? The personal life of a child is not easy after all. Let's replace the expired milk for him tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Shien silently thought to herself that the son of a hero should be taken care of by someone. Later, Shien remembered another main purpose of coming here today. By the way, Naruto, can you control the power of the Nine Tails well? This question is a taboo question. Shien's heartbeat couldn't help but speed up. She was still young during the Kyuubi rebellion, but the destructive power displayed by the Kyuubi still left a huge impression on her. Just from the ruins of Konoha at that time, we can see how terrifying the tailed beasts were. In addition, this question was not asked by Lord Hokage, but came from her personal question. Kyuubi, what is it? Naruto tilted his head to show that he didn't know the word. Hiss. Shien took a breath and then remembered that Naruto might not even know the professional concept of tailed beast. It should be said that most people in Konoha, including grassroots ninjas, do not know the specific information about this creature. It's me, Uncle. Lying behind the sealed iron door, Kyuubi closed its eyes and spoke its true identity in a low but majestic voice. Oh, so your name is the Stinky Fox Nine Tails. Naruto nodded, indicating that he understood. Just call Kyuubi, kid. Kyuubi immediately opened his eyes, quite furious and arrogant. When it comes to the Nine Tails, whoever lives in the ninja world doesn't tremble. Why is it that you are no longer intimidating? Kyuubi's scattered thoughts were obviously saying, I have been wandering for half my life, and I only regret that I have never met my master. How could such a personal Chiriki be exposed? Yuian saw Naruto talking to himself. She immediately realized that Naruto was talking to the Nine Tails. It's called the Nine Tails. This chakra is okay to control. By the way, sister from the Anbu, I don't know your name yet. Seeing Naruto with a simple expression, the Nine Tails knew that this bad boy was thinking of some evil plan again. Of course, this also means that the female human in front of him is going to be unlucky again. My name is Azuki Yuyan. After hesitating for a moment, Yuyan told Naruto her name. This is a secret. Anbu ninjas are generally not allowed to reveal their joy to others. You have to keep it secret for me. Okay, no problem. Sister Yuyan. Naruto, who pretended to be excited, seemed particularly happy, as if he had made another friend. Then, Sister Yuyan, I will tell you a secret too. In fact, my strength is very strong, stronger than yours. Naruto, who was fishing again, began to actively lure Yuyan to take the bait. Shien, who always felt bad about being killed by a kid in one move, naturally would not agree. Naruto, for example, now, Shien's sister, I can still beat you in one move. Quote. Shien did not have a character that refused to admit defeat. But facing the arrogant words of a kid, she was naturally aroused to refute. Under the mask, Shien's face began to turn red, and the past was unbearable to look back. Being defeated by a kid. Hokage-sama told her to take good care of Naruto. If Naruto's strength was that strong, what else would she do? I'm going to use the power of the Nine Tails on Sister Shien. Naruto, who pretended to be harmless, said this childish words. The wind rose, the clouds surged. Boom, the originally calm room suddenly stirred up a storm of the Nine Tails chakra. The orange waves visible to the naked eye instantly surged to the ceiling, and formed a roaring chakra Nine Tails head on it. Roar, the roaring Nine Tails head, the sound that became materialized, triggered a shock wave and suddenly attacked Shien. Woo, Shien, who was calm and even eager to try in the last second, turned into a shocked expression under the mask this second. Hit by the storm, her long purple hair on her back suddenly flew back. The whole person was almost unable to move by the storm. Just to fix herself in place, she consumed almost all her strength. How could it be? Chakra can actually materialize. She didn't wait for her to react while raising her arms to block the strong wind. Naruto, who had changed more and covered with a layer of orange transparent tailed beast clothes, suddenly pounced on her. Bang! Before Shien fainted, in addition to a pair of vertical pupils shining with needle-like red light, was a certain part of the clothes that was abnormally bulging. Plop! Boy, you hit too hard. Let's see how you end up this time. The first one to shout was the Nine Tails when seeing Yugao falling to the ground and being knocked unconscious in an instant. It looked at Yugao's forehead where Naruto had hit her hard. It was not an ordinary straight punch, but a fist covered with the tailed beast coat. In this case, the attack and defense of the Jinchuriki will not only be greatly improved, but also accompanied by a toxin attack. The chakra of the tailed beast has corrosive power. That is to say, not everyone is qualified to be the container of the tailed beast. This is almost the consensus of the ninja world. Only with a special physique can one better use the power of tailed beasts, which can also be said to be the basis for building a Jinchuriki platform. And when the Jinchuriki covers his tailed beast clothing and attacks his opponent. The hatred contained in the tailed beast's chakra is tantamount to directly interfering with the outside world, and is transmitted into the human body through contact attacks. Touching it will cause negative states such as paralysis, difficulty in being cured, and continuous damage, etc. So on the surface, Naruto just randomly punched Azuki Shien. In fact, the enchantment damage caused will have serious subsequent effects on Uyu Shien. This kind of poison will only become pure and free of violent poison after the Jinchuriki becomes the perfect Jinchuriki and completely unties the tailed beast's hard knot. You're done, boy. It's different from Kyuubi's gloating. As a fire scientist, Naruto understands the Nine Tails chakra better than the Nine Tails to some extent. Tailed beast chakra is certainly poisonous. But ninjas are also very tough. This punch hit the forehead. Maoyu Shien's brain probably fell into paralysis in an instant. Likewise, the beating hands and feet are numb. Even a powerful medical ninja like Sakura in the original work cannot immediately heal the injuries eroded by the Nine Tails chakra. Naruto roughly judged. Azuki Shien might be in a coma for at least 2 days. This is indeed a problem. But it's not a big problem. Snap. He lifted the Anbu mask at will. Azuki Shien's delicate white face, like a porcelain doll, immediately appeared in Naruto's eyes. The frown did not detract from her appearance, but made her look even more pitiful. Her long purple hair spread out and fell on the floor, under her body. The temptation brought by the Anbu uniform adds a different kind of charm to it. Sister Shien passed out in a coma, it's all my fault. I struck too hard, so I must let her rest well, and then. Take good care of her until she wakes up. Kyuubi. Naruto walked up to Shien and held her right wrist with one hand. Same moment, to the north of the Fire Nation, the distant border. Winter has arrived, and Konoha's reconnaissance team couldn't help but start rubbing their hands and exhaling turbid air like white mist. We set out a day ago and made an urgent march without sleep to get here. It took a lot of effort, just because the former rival, Cloud Hidden Village, suddenly extended an olive branch of friendship to Konoha. They claimed that they would sign an alliance covenant with Konoha. This news attracted great attention from the top management of Konoha. It is also associated with the case of the mask shop was set on fire and the corpses were burned. The top brass realized the murders are likely to be the reaction of other countries. It is very possible that it was a false shot by Kumogakure, or that other countries got wind of the situation and wanted to destroy the possible alliance between Konoha and Kumogakure. But no matter what, since Kumogakure has a tendency to negotiate peace, Konoha will also do so with the greatest sincerity. So, a special operations team set out from Konoha. The person in charge of this operation is the rising star of the reconnaissance squad, Moonlight Hayate. He possesses the boundary of penetration and blood succession, and has performed well in many missions. This unique blood inheritance limit also allows him to always achieve great achievements. The so-called debut is the peak. Such a sharp and powerful stealth ability also brings hidden dangers to Moonlight Gale, commonly known as blood-stained disease. When this ability reaches its peak, it is also the moment when his physical condition gradually declines. This is like the white-haired blood-stained disease in the legend of the Kagaya clan. Too strong and easy to break. His life will be as brilliant as a shooting star, but the ending will also be fleeting and dim. This is also the reason why he usually cultivates his body and mind and is taken care of by his childhood sweetheart Maoyu Shien. Standing on the border, Moonlight Hayate looked serious. The other side of the land beneath your feet, behind the boundary marker, is the border of another country. After a tense conversation with Kumogakure's ninja team, the other party handed over an autograph signed by the fourth Raikage. Kumogakure's diplomatic team will set off for Konoha soon. This meeting is to confirm the attitudes of both parties towards each other and is regarded as a preliminary meeting warm-up. Finally, Moonlight Gale stretched out his hand, suppressed his excitement, and held the opponent's hand together. At this point, both parties breathed a sigh of relief and the atmosphere began to become harmonious. Because, Moonlight Gale, peace is right in front of you. As the most powerful ninja village in the ninja world, Kumogakure's advanced level of science, technology and ninja studies cannot be doubted. If we had them as allies, Konoha would be able to maintain peace for decades. Wait until Kumogakure's team leaves. The Konoha team can finally find a place to take a good rest. After getting some sleep, you can return to the village. Everyone, please rest first. I will take this manuscript back immediately. Moonlight Hayate didn't want to waste a minute, he just wanted to spread the good news back to the village. Hayate, you're not missing your girlfriend, are you? You can't stand being apart for just 2 days. Young people nowadays. Looking at the friendly teasing from all around, Hayate, who was wrapped in the friendship of his companions, felt warm in his heart. He smiled slightly, said goodbye to his companions and set off immediately. Running in the cold wind, he couldn't help but think. What is his childhood sweetheart, Yugao, doing now? The morning sun rose from the horizon, and the rays of light dyed Konoha with a layer of orange-red. Sister Yugao, Azuki Yugao. Woo. The consequences of the erosion 2 days ago were stronger than Naruto had imagined. Naruto scratched his head, looking at the scene in front of him, quite helpless, and even shrugged his shoulders. I saw Yugao squirming helplessly on the bed like a boneless octopus. Her eyes also lost focus at this moment, looking around, like a heat stroke patient. The direct attack on the face 2 days ago invaded the brain. The effect of the Nine Tails chakra is just like that of neurotoxins, which has a far-reaching impact. This also proves from the side that Azuki Yugao is not suitable to be a Jinchuriki. At least she cannot accommodate the Nine Tails chakra. The early morning sun shines into Naruto's residence. Fortunately, she is still confused at this time and has no idea what happened. Sister Yugao, it's time to get up and wash your face. Naruto walked over and helped Azuki Yugao up from the big bed. Yugao, like a drunkard, staggered into the bathroom with the help of Naruto. Splash. The sound of water from the faucet. Naruto washed the face of Yugao, who could not help herself. After wiping her face, Naruto put on the mask for Yugao, and then sent Yugao out of the house. Woo. Standing on the road outside. A gust of cold wind blew, and Yugao's mind suddenly became much clearer. Sister Shien, you must go home well. Naruto's voice was like some kind of hint. Shien's staggering steps gradually became more agile, step by step. In the end, she completely disappeared from Naruto's sight. When Shien completely returned to her home, her consciousness was almost restored. She was able to return, completely instinctively. She pulled open the curtain of the bathroom and started to run the water. She took off her clothes, revealing her beautiful girl's figure. Her perfect body, like porcelain, slowly stepped into the bathtub. Then, Shien fell asleep again with her head tilted. The battered brain finally had a chance to rest at this moment. And this sleep lasted until the evening. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.